You want to know what I want to know, Scotty?
What do you want to know?
I've always been curious about, Scotty.
What?
Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side?
A pot of gold.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's true.
You're like-
Fucking goddamn true, Scotty.
If you're like, why have I never seen the pot of gold? Because you've never been to the other side of the rainbow.
Yeah. You're always on the wrong side of that fucking rainbow, bitch.
And if you think you've reached the other side of the rainbow, guess what? You haven't.
You're wrong.
Because the pot of gold is on the other side.
Yeah, because when you're on the side that you're on, it's on the other side, you know?
TJ's got friends on the other side.
I got friends on the other.
Whoa, TJ close up.
Just adjusting. It's easier to adjust the focus when it's zoomed in.
Don't give me your fucking excuses, TJ.
That's what I know. So this is a show we're doing. We've been trying to figure out, like, we know we want to do this Fighting Boys channel, and we know we want it to kind of be skewed towards entertainment stuff, but we haven't quite figured out, like, what exactly are we going to make for this? And here's yet another experiment.
Yes.
Is we're just going to sit down and talk about shit we've watched recently, because I have a pretty robust media diet, and I'm sure I'm forgetting stuff. Even when I went and found the stuff I'd watched recently, I still kind of feel like, well, maybe that's, God, I feel like I'm forgetting stuff, but you know.
It's only natural to feel that way, because I mean, you're probably gonna have stuff you're gonna watch and just like, whatever, do that. I'm actually working on a Steven Seagal tier list, not tier list, actually, but a top 10 list. I think you guys will enjoy.
Top 10 list, man.
Yes, a Steven Seagal top 10 list.
I mean, oof. Top 10.
You'll see. It's almost done, so you'll definitely see it soon.
Yeah, it sounds like a fucking masterpiece, man.
It's gonna be. I've had to watch a lot of Steven Seagal.
Oh no,
movies.
No. Oh man, I feel bad.
Because this is the thing. Like, look, if you make a Steven Seagal top 10 list, it's not something that's just gonna be out there. Like, okay, yeah, Steven Seagal did.
Yeah, you gotta suffer. You gotta suffer to make that happen.
Well, the only way I'm gonna make it happen is by actually going and finding the shit. Because I'm lazy. I mean, like,
I should clarify. Someone's asking. There was a new Superman thing. I'm not necessarily saying the stuff that we've watched is new. We're just talking about stuff we watched this week. It could be old shit. It could be new shit. You know, it could be in this case of this week, it's a fucking mix of shit that's older, shit that's newer. You know? So, oh shit, money, my favorite thing.
Money. Oh yes, money. Ha ha
ha. Woo, money.
Sweet baby Jesus, it's money.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus, money. God damn, I love that shit. 2 of my 3 favorite guys. Love you, dudes. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Who's the other guy?
Yeah, who the fuck else you been seeing on the side, huh? Henry Cavill was let go of Superman right after they told him to announce he was coming back.
Dude, Henry Cavill, I actually kind of almost want to make a video about the shit. I mean, like, I don't normally feel sorry for millionaire actors because it's not really, I mean, they're millionaire actors, but he got fucking fucked off The Witcher because he wanted to actually be more faithful to the books and the video games and shit. The more like source material.
Is that true? Is that the reason he left?
Well, that's what the speculation is. I mean, obviously, I don't think anyone ever knows 100%. Then it was like, okay, well, it's okay because you're going to be Superman. James Gunn takes over the DCU, basically. Him and some other guy, I forget, but James Gunn's the famous one.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're going to go with a different vision of this. So, you know, maybe you'll play Superman somewhere down the road or something, you know, who knows, but not right now. So see ya.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of late in the superhero trend for some new. I mean, look, maybe James Gunn is the guy that can breathe a little bit new life into it because the trajectory now, I would say the superhero trend is probably dead in 5 to 10 years.
Probably so.
I feel like we're definitely like in the decline period. We're not like deep into the decline. They're still making money, but they ain't printing money as flawlessly as they once did.
So now apparently he's working on a Warhammer series with Amazon.
Oh, well, he sounds like he landed on his feet then.
I mean, oh well, yeah. I mean, he's gonna land somewhere. Like he's definitely got enough talent as an actor. Which I mean, like I wasn't really convinced because I saw him way back in the day on the show The Tudors. Yeah, because I like Henry VIII. So I was like, that show's not my favorite show, but I saw him way back before he was. I remember it's like that guy's gonna be Superman. I was like, really? The fucking like his like Henry VIII's best friend on the show is gonna be, but he was all right as that. But I think on The Witcher he really shined.
Money for you. Enjoy money for you. You enjoy.
Which pissed me off because I actually
Thank
like
you.
that. I like that Witcher Netflix show. Then it's like, oh, we're replacing the guy, and I'm like, what's the main reason I like the show?
Well, I don't know. You can give the new guy a chance, or you just out.
Probably. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like so. Like, why are they gonna change it mid fucking stream, dude? Like, I don't like that.
Look, Henry Cavill died of cancer. What are you gonna do? You know.
Okay, if he died of cancer, that's different. Like they have on the show Spartacus, right?
I know that's what I was referencing.
That guy got cancer. They did like, hey, let's do a prequel fucking season, like short season of that. I'm like, okay, that was actually pretty cool. So because they basically just got to keep a bunch of the old cast and some sets and add some new characters in, and then it's like, oh, he's dead. Can't do it.
Yeah.
They still finished the show, but honestly, I think a lot of people really would have liked to see the original guy go on. The other guy was okay as a replacement, but I felt like the other guy was just a better Spartacus.
Liam Hemsworth has never shown talent. I don't even know who that is. Is that like a Chris Hemsworth like brother or something?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know too much about him. Wasn't he the guy that
is he like replacing Henry Cavill? Is that why people mention that?
Yes, he's placing Henry Cavill on Witcher.
So what did was he in? He's in the Hunger Games, I guess. I don't really know. I don't remember him from that. And then the last song, I don't know. I really don't know who this guy is. Maybe he'd be all right. I'm not sure.
This is totally true about the show Spartacus. Spartacus was the best show with the worst CGI. Yeah, the CGI was awful on that show.
Yeah, I mean, but it just goes to show that like the quality of the CGI really doesn't matter all that much if the story is good.
Oh, dude, you know what? Dude, let me show you. I'll actually show you a scene from it because I know you're probably never gonna watch Spartacus.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see.
No, it's not. Thanks for the money.
Dude, if I can find this fucking scene. No, that's not it.
Mm-hmm. TJ, are you a Fred fan now? With the annoying high-pitched voice, do you start appreciating his comedy?
Hey, it's Fred! What's up, everybody? I'm just gonna shit my britches. I don't know. What did Fred do again?
Hey, everybody, it's Fred. I can't fucking find it. I'm pooping. Congratulations, Faden.
Good for you, bud. Good for you.
I actually just watched that, so I guess that should have been on the list.
Well, you can talk about it if you want. Shrek 2. My favorite Shrek movie, by the way.
Oh, Shrek 2 is your favorite?
Yeah, I'd say it's my favorite Shrek movie. I think it's the best. I think it's the funniest.
You're probably right
about
that.
I don't really like Shrek 3 at all.
No, neither do I.
I watched it, and it's just like, I don't laugh at it. It seems like mean-spirited in a way that's not even funny. So I'm like, I don't know. And then the fourth one is like, it's not awful, but it's just like, it doesn't really capture the magic or whatever the fuck. So
the first one's good. The second one's good. Yeah. I think four is better. That's the one with Rumpelstiltskin, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's not bad. I mean, you could be worse.
Yeah,
it at least feels like a Shrek movie. If that was the third Shrek movie, then I think, I don't know, it would be like, I don't know, it might have a better reputation at this point, but.
Well, this actually is true. This comment. TJ would like Spartacus for the nudity. Yeah, any of the scenes and the orgies and stuff like that, TJ would enjoy those parts of the show.
Hold up. Screech to a halt for a second. Orgies and stuff. There's orgies in that shit.
Yes, it's basically about like Roman decadence and gladiatorial combat. So it's like the show is not heavy on. I mean, there's a plot and stuff, but it's like people fuck constantly. They're slaves, so they have to fuck their masters and vice versa and all that shit.
All right.
Like
Well, you sold me. I might check that show out.
You would also like it because there's definitely class warfare in the show, and the ways that you have jokingly advocated for as well. I mean, it covers the third servile ward of the Roman Empire, basically.
I dig it.
Which is basically people who were slaves and poor people.
Turn on your TJK light. I think it's fine being off right now. I kind of like it as like a white outline on the blue. It looks kind of cool. It's a little more subtle.
Are you directing TJ now?
Yeah,
TJ light on.
I'll decide how my shit's gonna be lit, bitch. If I wanted, you think I forgot it's back there? I know what the fuck it looks like.
Babies, terrifying babies.
tons of orgies in it. It makes Game of Thrones look like a show about Quakers. Cool.
Yeah, it really does. Like it's way
I
more.
saw a glint of excitement in TJ's eyes when Scotty said there's slaves that have to fuck their masters.
I mean, it is. That happens routinely on
Hey,
that.
you know, I mean, I'm sure it's only in the show. They only put that in the show because they thought I would enjoy it. There's no other people out there into that shit. Whatever. Fuck you. Anyway, let's talk about fucking some media, Scotty. You want to talk about our little media diet?
Yes, let's do it.
So I was gonna see this show. I was gonna see this on Monday. No, wrong shit. But then I ended up seeing it Wednesday.
Oh man, you lying motherfucker! TJ, like, man, I'm going to see.
Well, no,
Avatar.
I rescheduled it, but I was like, I reschedule my tickets to Wednesday. But then you were like, oh, I actually don't need that. I'm like, oh, well, fuck it then. I'm gonna fucking. I ain't telling him that shit.
I guess it's my fault.
Yeah, you're the one who fucking delayed me seeing it. But whatever, it doesn't matter.
Good.
I saw this shit. I saw this shit, and I figured this shit out. I figured out the fucking Avatar movies. I know the secret. I know the secret of your power. The secret of the Avatar movies is they're so mediocre that no one has strong feelings about them one way or the other. They stand out just enough to pique people's interest, and then they get people in with the least offensive means of getting butts and seats possible, which is just like, we got really good special effects. And that's it.
That's all the movie is. It's motion capture. I mean, you're basically watching a CGI spectacle.
And I will say, the CG in this movie, even more so than the original, is pretty fucking impressive. Like, when James Cameron said, when he put out the first Avatar, he's like, you can't even tell the blue people are CG. I could still tell they were CG. But in this one, I'm looking at them like, yeah, that could very well just be like really there.
The main complaint I have with the CG, the motion capture and all that stuff is I think some of the stuff looks very video gamey.
Oh yeah, I mean, like you definitely get the sense the whole movie feels like a really long, really detailed video game cutscene.
It does, honestly. I mean, but like, but taken to such an extreme where it's like you gave like a video game studio just an unlimited budget essentially to make whatever visuals they wanted in a game. Because I think most games, the reason they have cutscenes and stuff like that is because obviously budgetary constraints. Like,
yeah,
we can't because I mean, some of those scenes might cost like $1 million a minute to animate.
But all your favorite characters are back, such as Jake Sully is back, and girl's back, and they're introducing new characters such as Sun and Water Princess chick and
Kiri. They have Kiri, the 16-year-old played by 73-year-old or whatever she is, Sigourney Weaver. She's not.
Which, by the way, people kept telling me blue monkey cat people sucked. Well, this time they're green sea monkey people. So
yeah, the sea monkey peoples.
So you don't even know anymore.
You're
not even down no more.
With fatter tails and flipper hands.
It's addressed at first like, oh man, you guys aren't gonna be able to swim as fast as us with these little monkey tails, and then they pretty much never struggle again. It's like they have like 5 minutes where they're like, we can't do it as good, and then it's like, we instantly now do it as good. It's like, okay, that wasn't even really much of a factor. I don't even know why they brought that up. I want to see some bloobs, dude. If you want an excuse to ogle blue butts for 3 hours, this movie,
my God, let me see a blue butt.
Oh, they're just everywhere because like they're fucking practically butt naked, and they have like butts. It's not like they didn't give them like non-butts. They give them actual butts and stuff. So you're pretty much sitting there like, all right, more blue butts, I guess.
But they have tails, so I guess it kind of like.
I don't know.
There's no butthole. Let's put it that way. There's no.
Yeah, then you never see a butthole. But I mean, like, I assume they have buttholes, right? Like, why would you have a butt and not a butthole?
Do the Na'vi take shits? I mean, like, how do they like? Are they just perfectly and like they eat? We know that they hunt.
So didn't James Cameron said they needed $2 billion just to turn a profit on Avatar 2?
Yeah, he did.
He didn't throw out the exact figure of $2 billion, but he did say it had to be one. It has to end up being like one of the top 5 highest grossing movies of all time for it to turn a profit.
The film has grossed 1.1 billion worldwide.
Yeah, I actually have an article about this. It's actually I don't know why there's like for some reason, people no longer actually look at data about how movies are doing. They just make up what they want, and then that just becomes the truth in their heads. Because I've seen a lot of people being like, oh, it's not doing as well as they'd hoped.
Not true.
It literally got to 1 billion faster than the first one did. Avatar 2, The Way of Water, makes 1 billion in 14 days, even with COVID weighing on China.
This is why
Which is the milestone comes 14 days after The Way of Water debuted in theaters, 5 days faster than Avatar reached the same benchmark in 2000.
What did I say? What did I fucking say? Dude. So
this idea that this movie is like, oh man, it's not doing so hot. It is. Wrong. Unless it totally fizzles out, but it's not going to fizzle out. I saw this shit on a Wednesday night, and the theater was packed to the fucking, no pun intended, gills.
Okay. I mean, I definitely get your thing about the mediocrity thing, and I definitely think that's totally true. But I'll tell you another thing. Name another big budget movie that the studio has put hundreds of millions of dollars into that's not a superhero property.
Exactly. So this is like,
go ahead. I'll wait.
Even though this is totally unoriginal by about 1 million different standards, it is kind of a different thing from what people can get elsewhere cinematically right now.
Yeah, all the biggest movies for the longest time have been superhero properties. This is one that is not a fucking superhero property. So therefore, just by that extension, and the fact that they put tons of marketing dollars behind this, it has a built-in audience from tons of people who saw the first one. I mean, you remember the first Avatar movie made, what is it, like $1.5 billion? I mean, it wasn't like it's an obscure fucking movie. This movie, like it was a movie I think people didn't almost believe this was ever going to happen. Because I mean, it took so long to have the sequel happen. I mean, what was it, like 10 years, 12 years?
13.
It was 13 years. So it almost felt like absurdly long. And then it comes out and it's like, oh shit, like, is it even going to be any better? Is it going to be like, and it's like, and the thing, I think at the end of the day, what we saw was, yeah, they did improve the CGI, but I think the reason why it took so long is the technology actually had to be developed in that time period.
Well, another thing is that James Cameron shot the next like 3 of these movies all in one go. So like we weren't waiting for just this one to come out. We were waiting for him to fucking shoot like 15 fucking movies. Okay.
Yeah. They started production on this, I think, in like 2014. Like that was production. I think they actually started filming in like 2017.
Yeah, there is a shit ton of I mean, dude, I was here's me sitting in this movie. Okay. I'll tell you exactly my fucking whole experience in the theater. So I go to this theater, it's a fucking IMAX. It's 3D. So I sit down, the fucking aisles of the IMAX are this fucking thin. Like they're like, I had to get up and go to the bathroom at one point.
Oh, 1 second.
And I literally almost tripped and fell.
Yeah. Okay, Peyton. Like, dude, you like, dude, Peyton, I fucking hate the literal shit you do. You're a fucking moron. I'm fucking literally banning you for your stupid shit. Bye. I fucking am so sick of this. Every time we say something, Peyton, you gotta have some stupid thing. Bye. I'm literally banning you. I fucking cannot. I cannot stand your literal autistic shit. Fuck off.
Scotty's mad. Anyway,
because every time Peyton will come out with like the one other. When you said do this, like I don't even care. Get the fuck out of here, Peyton. If I was trying to body slam your fat ass through a fucking table, every time you do this autistic shit, it fucking annoys the fuck out of me. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, Peyton. I don't care. Okay, go on. Sorry.
So anyway, the fucking aisles of the fucking movie theater were like this fucking narrow, right? They're like this. And like I nearly tripped and fell like 3 times trying to get out because there's nowhere for people to move their feet to. Because they really just cram people in like sardines in that fucking theater. And it was full. It was completely fucking full. There was maybe like, I don't know. It wasn't completely full, but it was like 80% to capacity or something on a Wednesday fucking night. 2 weeks after the movies fucking come out. I mean, I was trying to wait for the crowds to thin out a little bit, but apparently they ain't going to fucking thin anytime soon. So I fucking saw this movie and, you know, I'm sitting there watching it and I'm like, okay, all right, boring, exposition, boring, exposition, boring, pretty visuals, pretty, not much going on, pretty stuff.
Dude, the
look at the majesty, look at the majesty.
And then Avatar is just exposition. It's like, here's what's happened since like...
Yeah, the movie can basically be divided into 30-minute exposition block, hour and a half of fucking just like ooh, so pretty. Ooh, pretty, pretty. Wow, pretty. Everything's so pretty. And then the last hour of that movie is
Fight.
just like balls to the wall, insane fucking action that fucking rocks really fucking hard. Honestly, like the movie is kind of worth the price of admission just for that last hour of fucking insane high octane fucking action.
And dude, James Cameron even fucking said that he cut like 10 minutes out of the film. He's like, I don't want to fetishize guns or whatever. It's like, whatever, dude. You wrote the fucking script, didn't you? Didn't James Cameron write the fucking script?
Yeah, he did. But then he fucking decided guns, bad.
Yeah, he directed it.
No, like guns.
He did the screenplay with 2 other people. A guy named Rick Jaffa, Amanda Silver, and the story is by him. It's based on Avatar by him. It's produced by him. It was the executive producer as well. I mean, like, dude, you have pretty much control of that. So if you're cutting shit from your own thing, that's on you.
Yeah, I fucking got through. I mean, the last fucking hour of the movie is just pure action, and that's the part where I kind of like get into it because like I was pretty bored for the first 2 hours of this fucking 3-hour fucking film. You know, I mean, I wasn't totally bored. There was definitely some parts that worked better than others, but like it was kind of a really super mixed bag with a lot more on the negative side than the positive for the first 2 hours of the movie. And then the last hour of the movie just becomes like a nonstop crazy ass action sequence. And I'm just like, I'm there for it. So I really did dig the last hour of the fucking flick when
I felt like there was
the
a lot of
violence
action,
started.
but don't you feel like a lot of it too was the movie was the fact that when you look at it, it was really just like a retelling of the first one in a lot of ways. It was like, oh shit, we have to learn a way to make this happen again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like it's like the first one. It's like it's obviously he comes from Earth. He's a Marine. He's lost the ability to walk, and it's like, look, if you fucking infiltrate these people, you got your legs back when you go home.
Well, so James Cameron knew that part of the Avatar experience has to be like you have to experience some kind of like new thing, and you have to journey with a character or more than one character as they learn to do something.
Yeah.
So.
But it's funny, like the way of water, you figure that would be like a more essential part of the film. But I think you're right. I mean, like obviously the beginning is like, we're gonna hunt you down, we have to leave. Give us sanctuary. They get sanctuary and everything. And it's like, oh, now you're like literally the fish out of water, right?
Fish in water, or the non-fish in water.
Yeah.
In this case.
Yeah, then you have to be the fish in the water. And of course they have like the slight, oh, you're ostracized. And it's like, oh, we almost killed you, but I covered for you, so we're cool now. It's like, oh, okay. Like, I guess that works. I think a big problem with these movies is that they like they're such a spectacle that so much it blends together.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
what the real thing that separates this movie from greatness, the thing that stands in this movie's way is that there's a bunch of characters, but very few of them have much of a personality or are very memorable. Like most of the characters are pretty fucking generic. Even the characters that kind of stand out a little bit are kind of generic. And you don't really strongly identify with them. There's not much that's said where it's like, oh, only this character could say that line. A lot of the characters are just kind of like very two-dimensional, which is pretty ironic because they're like amazingly 3D rendered in terms of the aesthetics, but the actual personalities are pretty fucking.
Everyone's almost a stereotype in a lot of respects. Like the Colonel is just like the guy that's like,
hoorah!
He's kind of conflicted. It's like, but obviously he's a clone, so it's like he's like, should I be tied to the memories of my clone? But on some ways, I can't escape that. But overall, just like I'm the fucking military guy that's gonna go in there. I'm gonna accomplish the mission, do whatever I need to do, burn down the village. If I gotta do it, we're gonna do it. Hoorah for the Corps. So, like, kind of a stereotype. I'll tell you what, the character that perplexed me the most, and this is, I think, just James Cameron's personal love of Sigourney Weaver, just as an actor, is like, okay, we have a 16-year-old. We need like our Mr. Avatar Jesus. Sigourney Weaver, you're gonna play Avatar Jesus. I mean, it kind of is like that because, like, was it like Awe is like the
yeah,
the
she's like,
force?
I mean, yeah, she's like born under mysterious like circumstances of like who's the father, and it's kind of been hinted that maybe she was just conceived by the planet or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, Yahweh conceived her.
And then I guess a lot of people found it really awkward that Sigourney Weaver was voicing her and shit and the mocap her. But I gotta be honest with you, I didn't even really notice that until the movie was over and I was talking about it with other people, and they're just like, "Yeah, that was Sigourney Weaver." I'm like, "Oh, really?" I
That
didn't even
occurred to
notice.
me about like halfway like through, and I looked at her. I'm like, "That's Sigourney Weaver, isn't it?" Sigourney Weaver's. Then I had a flashback to like when we were doing a show, and it's like Sigourney Weaver's going to play a 16-year-old, and she's like 70. Apparently, I mean, like, and this could just be movie interview bullshit.
She's one of the few characters that I actually thought stood out at all. So I can't really complain because I remember her name and I remember what she did in the movie.
That's
And I
because
remember her
James
personality
Cameron.
a little bit more. So I'm like, I kind of feel like I can't complain because she
here's why.
was honestly one of the better parts of the movie.
Because James Cameron personally has been working with her for a long time and has a lot of respect for her. So I think when she was put in the movie, it was actually really thoughtfully done how she was going to be a major part of it. She is. She's a major part of it. Like, she basically saves the fucking day.
Yeah,
Not
they're
just-
kind of setting her up as like, I mean, like you said, like sort of like the Jesus figure.
People are saying Anakin Skywalker. Yeah, like she is like the chosen one for sure.
You're the chosen one.
I mean, if Jake Sully was like the prophet that like brings like the great change, like the one that unifies the land and the people, is definitely Kira.
Yeah, if he's like the Moses, then she's the Jesus.
Oh yeah,
She's the Jesus.
she's the Jesus.
There's also this horrible human character called Spider.
Oh
that should
god,
just not have been in the fucking movie.
yeah. If there's one character, I totally agree with that. That should just have been written out of the storyline.
Or
Dude,
at least had like a way smaller part or something.
You know what Spider is too? Spider is like that. This is the human person you can relate to as we go along with this.
Yeah, they
crazy
should have
stuff.
just. I was totally fine. One of the things I do like about this movie in terms of like messaging is that there's really no sympathetic human characters, or there's very few. And honestly, even the few that they had, I could have just done without. Like, I would have been fine just hanging out with the blue people. Just give the blue people better personalities and write them a little better, and we're good.
I mean, the blue people are like that's all the poster is the blue people, and then like one of their cool like mounts they get in the movie that's like half fish, half like they can fly or glide or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, the actor that played Spider definitely sucked, and then the character sucked as well.
Dude, I like the whales though.
The whales were one of the best parts of the movie. I don't remember what they're not called whales, but they're clearly whales.
A tulkin or something. Tulkin.
The Tukabukalukas. Yeah.
The tulkin. Dude, the whales are bad at like, dude. Well, that whale fucking like attacks them. That's one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah, that is.
Like
that was officially when the movie got, to me, like when it got good for the last like hour. Like the hour of power started when the Outcast fucking attacked, and then everything from there on was pretty much watchable.
And it's fucked up because like supposedly these whales are like super smart, have super deep emotional bonds, like can communicate with the Na'vi, all this shit. Like they're like literally like this, like you're my spirit animal, like my literal spirit animal is here. They formed long lasting bonds and relationships. And it's like, oh, they're not allowed to fight back though. So like, yeah, they were like brutally murdered, but because that one dude, that one little whale like fought back, he's an outcast now. Fuck him, dude.
YMS said the characters keep running into the antagonist, and it ruins the expansive world building from the first film. I don't really know what that means. I don't know about that. You know what? One thing I did notice about this movie that really started to piss me off is there's just like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 too many times where a character's about to die, but then another character jumps in at the last possible second and saves them. You know, and I'm just like, okay, you can get away with a couple of those in a movie, but like when it keeps on happening, you got come up with some other way that they get out of the situation. You know?
I don't even like the whole like they're dying, so that's sad. Like, let's use that mechanic or that trope in a story. Like, I just don't think it's very effective. I really don't. I mean, and it's also like you have to be really invested in those characters. So the one major death they have, it's like, remember this kid? He was fishing.
Should I rewatch Avatar 1 before the sequel? You don't need to. I'm gonna tell you right now, you absolutely do not need to.
You can, and it might give you like a little more richness to this one, but it's like it's not necessary.
I honestly feel like if you do watch the first one before you watch this one, you're just gonna get Avatared out. You're probably better off just going to it fresh. And if you're still hungry for more, go back and watch the first one then. You know? Because to me, you know, they give you so much exposition at the beginning of this movie. They fucking load you down with it, so you really don't need that.
Dude, I will tell you, probably one of the hardest scenes I actually watched, like and really is heartbreaking, is when they do hunt those the
Oh
whales.
my god, that was so fucked. And the whole time I'm just thinking, like, man, fuck the Japanese, because you know that's what they're fucking talking about.
Yeah, when they're hunting like the Tolkiens or whatever they're
Yeah,
called.
they're not
The
called Tolkiens. They're
I
not
don't know.
fucking called Tolkiens, dude. I know they're not.
I don't know what like it's similar to that though. It's like
The
Tulkun.
Tamarack, the Tukaluk, whatever the fuck they are. Yeah, I get
Well,
you.
they're hunting the whales, and you see and just the whole operation. That was like a really powerful scene in that movie, I will say. And just like they kill the mother, and you're just seeing how brutal it is, and it's like the calf just gets to die because it's depending on the mother to live.
Oh man, it was so fucking lame. And you knew they were talking about whaling in real life and shit. And you just think about like the Japanese whaling ships, and you're just like, man, fuck that.
Remember how wasteful it is too? Well, at least the Japanese actually eat the whale. Like with that one, it's like they just drain some shit out of its brain. They're like, this is worth $80 million.
Yeah, we got them now, boys. Got them now. But yeah, it wasn't too bad though. You know, it wasn't too good. Like I said, it's not a movie that's really gonna fucking. I mean, I feel like if anybody has super strong emotions about this movie one way or the other, they're faking it. Because it's really hard to hate, but it's also really hard to love. I'm not saying it's impossible to do either of those things, but like it just doesn't. It doesn't have enough there for you to really get upset about or for you to really get excited about. It's just kind of like a pretty decent it's like a mediocre to pretty decent fucking action CGI spectacle. And that's about all you get.
Dude, and just pulling up like, if you look at the plot of most movies, you could pretty easily tell someone the plot of like a movie. Avatar: Way of Water is almost impossible to succinctly like explain it. I'm on the Wikipedia article for this movie, and it's just like, okay, so a decade has passed as the Na'vi repelled the human invasion of Pandora by Resource Development Administration. Jake Sully lives as a chief of the Omotaka clan and raised a family with Neri. I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher all these fucking names. Neytiri. I mean, I heard it over and over again, but I literally can't remember the fucking names. Okay, they have some sons, Nitayam, Loaka, Tuk.
Which are virtually impossible for me to tell apart, by the way.
It's Tuk. Well, I remember Tuk because she was little.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like the two sons, like they look the same. And
I know,
basically the same height and stuff. It's just like, I can't.
Dude, one of them got killed. I honestly was like, which one got killed?
Yeah, I was kind of glad that they did that because, like, thank God. Now I don't have to try to fucking tell them apart anymore.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Let's see. Spider rescues. Blah, 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 blah. After, I guess it's Nitayam's funeral. Nitayam, I guess, was the one that was killed.
Sure.
Is he the older one or is he the younger one? Which one was he?
He was the older one, I believe.
Oh, so was the older? Oh, so it was like the brother that you can't live up to him.
Yeah, the good one died, and then the shitty one or whatever.
So
the one that was like not as liked by the dad or whatever lived.
There's so many cliches.
The dad learned to love the shitty one or whatever the.
I mean, you really are right. There are so many. There's so much like cliches and tropes and exposition and things that I think like normally would just disqualify a movie from anyone saying, "Hey, this is a really good movie. This is a really strong film." It's like you're right. It is. It's pretty much like it's like in nature, right? It's like a lot of people see like the perfect face or the perfect symmetry or whatever, but it's like really it's like averageness to its ultimate form is actually almost a form of perfection to some people. And this is like what happens with this movie.
Yeah, because dude, you could show this movie to 100 people and probably 100 people are going to go like, they're either going to say like, not bad. Pretty good. Yeah, maybe worth seeing. And no one's raving about it. No one hates it really. I mean, there's a few people out there, it's trash, it's garbage, but like really like, are they that passionate about it? Probably not. Cause there's not, I mean, like, how could you be?
When I walked out of the theater, dude, it was mostly people who I could tell were pretty pleased. And like, I know if a movie sucks, is people will talk during the movie. And no one was talking during Avatar. It was not like a bunch of people going like, lame, or, like, like there was not any big laughs in the movie. It was just people pretty much like entranced for 3 hours.
Pretty much right. Graphics, I go 5 out of 10 on the story, but yeah. Because the story is totally unremarkable. The characters are totally unremarkable. The visuals are remarkable. The action, when it fucking finally goddamn kicks off, is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, the battle of that ship and the ship flipping over and everything. It's like I'm like, dude, James Cameron just can't resist ship sinking, can he?
I know. Just like I think he was making Titanic, and he's like, "This is good and all, but what if there was some blue motherfuckers fighting on this son of a bitch?" You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think the crazy thing is because the Na'vi are so much bigger than humans. Like when they actually fight humans, it's just it's just like it's a wash.
Yeah,
man.
we're
It's
pathetic.
ridiculous.
We're just like, yeah, throw you,
But
stupid little bitch.
and the eclipse, I'll tell you the eclipse part of that movie too. Like when having the effect that eclipse makes it perfect because like the whale attack happens, then the eclipse happens. They're battling in the fucking dark and shit.
Oh yeah, he definitely knew how to do like visual drama in the action set pieces.
Yeah,
this
James
dude
Cameron-
This dude directed Terminator 2.
Yeah.
He knows what the fuck he's doing.
James Cameron's action set pieces are amazing. I will say because so many directors like it's just like quick cut. It's like
No, you fucking. He shows you every single thing. You know exactly what's happening. The visual storytelling at the fucking last hour of this movie is fucking incredible. You almost wish that people would just shut the fuck up and just fucking not even. I almost wish the Na'vi didn't even fucking talk, and I could just make up personalities for them. But whatever.
I think that's kind of the funny thing about them is a lot of them have like, and especially in the younger people had like bro personalities. So it's like
I know that
bro-
was really weird, wasn't it?
the two bro Na'vi like, what's up, bro?
What's up, bro? We fucking water Na'vi, bitch. Like,
What a
oh,
Na'vi
God,
fucking better,
no.
bitch.
Like, okay then.
Is,
Phil's
is
yeah.
T2 a better movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say a better storyline, better dialogue,
better in every way. I mean, obviously the special effects are fucking
visuals excluded.
10 years behind or whatever, more than
Yeah,
10 years.
I prefer T2 to this movie.
I would watch T2 way before I watch this again, for sure.
But honestly, for it being a massive blockbuster film, it's pretty good. It's
Yeah,
pretty good.
You could do worse.
Yeah,
I'd
I mean,
recommend-
honestly,
I'd recommend. I mean, if you could go see it in IMAX just for the spectacle, it's probably worth it.
oh yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that this is definitely an achievement of cinema. Like honestly, anything that pushes boundaries doesn't mean it's perfect. It doesn't mean that it's like, oh, you really just like, oh, you're never gonna see a better film. There's plenty of better films out there.
I just wish that it was better in terms of like story and character and stuff. But I know that if he did that, honestly, it would probably be less well received because then people would have reasons. If you fucking make a character that's really good and like rich and deep, people are gonna feel different ways about that character. If you make a character that's super generic, it's just like, yeah, here's the fucking same generic garbage you've been fed a million times before.
They might have been in the ocean, but this movie is puddle deep. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. But hey, in terms of like technical filmmaking, in terms of pushing the limits of what you can do with CG and what you can do with I would even say 3D technology, because I mean, I haven't seen a 3D movie in a while because no one really did them that well and they kind of faded out. But this movie kind of reminded me of just like how much potential that technology does have when it's used right.
It's basically the first movie, but not as good. Yeah. I mean, dude, I'll tell you what, because the first Avatar,
they're both about the same.
I
don't really feel like one's better than the other, to be honest with you.
I'll make this argument. I think that first Avatar is better in my mind, simply because at the end, when all of fucking Pandora rises up, it gets like, oh man, dude, humanity's gonna win. The fucking evil alien has come. We have no chance. And the entire planet's like, fuck humanity. And it's like, oh shit, oh god, no. That I feel like really was a powerful moment in that movie. Like in a movie that, like, I agree, like I think both these movies are not very deep movies. I mean, they present themselves as such, but like that was a moment I was like, man, you know what? Yeah, fuck humanity. Like we do suck. Kill us.
Yeah, which I agree with.
So I mean, like,
let's talk about some other movies. I don't know. You want to cap it off by rating shit?
We can. I mean, like, want
to throw a rating up there?
if you're talking about like, I mean, like, look, you of course have the Paul rating, watch or don't watch it. If we do that, I'm just saying you should watch it.
I like 1 and 10.
If you like numerical stuff, I'd probably say, I mean, visuals get a 10 from me. Storyline not as strong. I'd probably rate it somewhere around like a 7. I would say.
I'm gonna give this motherfucker a 6.5.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna put up with an addendum that it's more worth seeing than the average 6.5, just because it does kind of push some boundaries.
Yeah, I get this. But if you can ever see it in 3D, you should. And I don't say that lightly.
Chelsea did not want to see it in 3D, but I think that she ultimately did like it better in 3D. So
Yeah, I will say this. Look, I'm not a big fan of 3D. I've never have been. There's so few movies that pull it off well. Okay, a movie that's better in 3D, Nightmare Before Christmas, Avatar, and Avatar 2. I'm really struggling to give you another one. Maybe there is another one out there. I'm not saying it doesn't
How to
exist.
Train Your Dragon. was
Oh,
pretty
you're
good in
right.
3D.
Yeah, you're right. How to Train Your Dragon. Animated movies tend to make it better. And Avatar.
And this movie, by the way, this movie pretty much is an animated movie.
It's
it's
mocap.
like almost every fucking.
It's mocap, but let's be honest, it's a bunch of animators.
Right, and but this incredible animation though.
It is, yeah, truly.
This one was good in 3D. The shit wasn't popping in your face. Yeah, I mean, I think that James Cameron's use of the technology is very fucking good. You know, whether you like it or not, which I think we all agree that like it was overdone. Even if you like the technology, you have to agree it was done poorly a lot. So, or so many movies we went to saw in 3D just looked like shit.
Oh damn, dude! Angry Cat. That's a harsh rating, but you know, fair enough. It's your personal rating.
1 out of 10. Fuck this movie.
Oh damn.
Damn. Rick Wallace gave $20. Says, I pretend these movies are better than they are by overanalyzing the themes of environmentalism. The only way to be a pure human is to lay down our lives to violent revolutionary action against the imperialist capitalist state. I think that's kind of what James Cameron wants you to walk away with. So I think you're interpreting it right.
Dude, yeah, James Cameron definitely wants you to feel environmental guilt. I mean, like, and I think that's what the whole whaling scene is really about. It's just about like if you just detach yourself from it, you know, everyone.
James, I didn't really talk about it too much in the course of this like discussion, but like James Cameron's ideological fingerprints are all over this fucking movie.
Well, yeah,
like it's not subtle.
That's why
lets you know exactly how he wants you to feel about shit.
Well, that's why the whaling scene is such a power. I mean, or the Tolkien, or I'm obviously just that's a joke, but obviously that's why that scene is done like that, because you see a bunch of people are doing something. They're doing something that's risky for most people, morally reprehensible, but because there's this big profit motive in it, everyone just has kind of compartmentalized it. Well, my job is just.
And there's even the guy that's there, part of the crew that's like, he knows that it's fucked up. He's like, this is really horrible what we're doing, but
yeah, this side funds the research, and literally when like they get attacked, is like, you know what, fuck us, basically. Like, fuck
he's like,
us.
yeah, well, we deserve what we get.
Oh yeah, because he knows it's true. I mean, the only reason that happened is because they're exploiting that planet. And I mean, yeah, full tilt. Like they even say it. It's not really brought up too much in it, but humanity has now has total designs on Pandora. Like this is a fucking Garden of Eden. We need to take this shit over. Like, cause Carmela Soprano, Edie Falco has a small role as like the general in this movie, and she's like, "Look, Colonel, we've got Earth is dying or something. It's dead, whatever."
Yeah, I was surprised that was so throwaway too. Like, just like, yeah, Earth's dying, so we got to get this motherfucker going over here. It's like, all right, sure thing, girl.
We'll do it.
Sure thing.
All right, Carmela, we'll do it.
Did you see that quote from Cameron about how Native Americans should have fought harder against the Europeans? I think that quote was really like taken out of context, because I'm pretty sure what he was saying was just like, hey, if they knew how bad white people were going to fuck them over, they probably would have fought harder.
Oh,
like
God,
if they'd have known how much like we weren't going to honor our deals or treaties or anything like that, and we were just going to violate everything and just Trail of Tears and all that shit. Yeah, I think they probably would have fought harder. I mean, I'm not saying they didn't fight hard, and neither is James Cameron saying that. He just worded it a little awkwardly. He's actually fucking supported like Native Americans and Native American charities and shit like that for like decades now, or a decade at least. And I honestly think that, when I first saw Avatar back in the day, I kind of thought it was a little bit weird to turn Native Americans into aliens. I'm like, that's a little maybe weird and offensive in a way. But then I kind of realized, like, that's basically the only way you can actually get some people in America to actually feel bad about what was done, because they're so reflexively defensive of, manifest destiny and like Western expansion and, white supremacy and all that shit when it's not allegorical. So you almost have to like remove it from that context to get them to actually look at it for what it is and be like, oh shit. Yeah, the way that they're treating those people on Pandora is fucked up. It's like, yeah, that's what we did. That's what we did in the Americas, bro.
Yeah, it's like if you watch this movie and you think that's fucked up, then that's just an allegory for what was already been done. Pull up James Cameron's Wikipedia. I'll tell you the worst thing I found.
I love this argument. They fought each other all the time. Did they genocide each other all the time? Because I'm pretty sure they didn't.
I mean, yeah, you could say that about any group of peoples that live near each other in any part of the world. I mean,
Oh, I
if-
didn't. It's been a while. I didn't watch this since Halloween, but we both watched this, and I made you specifically watch it so we could talk about it. So I feel like we should at least pay some lip service to it, even though it's kind of beyond its little season. You know, talk
it
about a
is.
Halloween movie after Christmas, so we won't spend too much time on it. But
The one thing I do want to say before we end the Avatar thing is
oh, sure, sorry, I didn't
about
mean to
James.
jump the gun.
Oh no, it's okay. James Cameron, why did you endorse Hillary Clinton? That's
Yeah,
it.
crybabies.
That's the only thing I just don't agree with James Cameron on, as far as that's concerned.
So Art the Clown here from Terrifier 2.
Which was my first introduction. I know a lot of people are better acquainted with Art the Clown because he was in Terrifier, obviously one. What was it? All Hallows Eve is the other one.
So the first movie he appeared in was called All Hallows Eve.
Super low budget.
Very, very low budget film. All these films are low budget, but that one was exceptionally low budget. And then there was Terrifier, which was I think like 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Something like that.
It was a pretty decently long time ago. And then, of course, this one here. And I remember seeing the first Terrifier. I don't remember the context of when I saw it or anything. I was just kind of flipping through channels or something like that. Or I don't think I selected it to watch. I feel like I did see it on like a movie channel or something like that because it felt like I just kind of randomly stumbled on it. And I just sat down and I started watching this movie, and you know, I see this clown guy, and he starts doing stuff, and then I start to wonder, like, is this clown like a supernatural entity, or is he just a guy in a clown costume? And it's kind of like ambiguous until the end of the movie, when you know, it's pretty much determined that this is not.
Yeah, he's not just a clown.
This is not just a clown. This
not
thing,
even close. Yeah,
this thing has something going on beyond that. And in this movie, of course, they're playing a lot more with the supernatural elements. I love this movie, and the fact that it was made for such a low budget is extraordinarily impressive. It's basically the opposite of Avatar in a lot of ways. That one is like a super high budget movie that doesn't stand out much at all. This one is a super low budget movie that's absolutely stands out in basically every way you could imagine, from performances to special effects, which are almost all practical.
Dude, he fucking like, I'll tell you, with this movie, they went balls to the fucking wall. Like, I'm talking about like most horror films, you don't realize how sanitized they are and how much they have an eye towards like a larger release for like a bigger audience. Like, this is not a fucking film for the squeamish. If you are,
this movie does not fucking, it doesn't pull any punches. It's
if
not
you're
like
grossed out by blood, gore, eyes being gouged out, violent, like brutal violence displayed on screen, you cannot watch this movie.
I don't even really know how it managed to get an R rating.
I don't know.
When I was
either.
watching, I was kind of like, I'm surprised this is not NC-17, just for the like. I think that the thing they did is they made the violence just fake looking enough that they didn't get that NC-17 rating, but it still looks pretty convincing. I mean, you can tell a lot of times that you're looking at like models and, you know, this and that, but like, it's extraordinarily gruesome and just like brutally cruel. Has, you know, basically like the character of Art the Clown takes such gleeful delight in the most like fucked up shit.
Oh, and Art, it's totally set up. Like, when Art usually first encounter him, he doesn't just immediately kill you. He's just like a menacing force, like initially. Like, so he'll show up and just be in your presence, and he'll be like, I'm kind of a little goofy and a little weird, and like I look strange. But then it's like usually like the second or third time he comes back around you, then he starts like, he just gets brutally violent with you. Like he breaks into the house, that girl's house, and like just starts killing her. I'm like, okay, he's just gonna stab her or something. And it's like, no, he's basically gonna dissect her while she's alive.
Yeah,
and then like, I'm gonna peel your skin off. I'm like, what the fuck is?
They kind of fake you out because like he comes in and he stabs her a few times, and she's like basically dead, and she's like crawling across the floor to the phone, and you think they're setting up the moment where she like tries to reach for the phone, but then like collapses before she can. But then Art just comes like dancing back into the room with like literally like salt and like rubbing alcohol, and she starts pouring on her and like laughing, and she's like, ah! You know, it's like like literally rubbing salt in her wounds and shit and laughing at her with, you know, his weird silent, you know, and then her mom comes back and her like she's basically like Scotty said, like a living dissected thing that's just like all fucked up and like has like parts of her skin removed and limbs cut off and like meat exposed and shit. Just like, and then like she turns to her mom. It's like, Mom. It's like, oh my God, dude, what the fuck? This is so fucking crazy.
Oh God, what's the main character's name? It's
I don't remember the
what's
main
her name?
character's name.
I
I did after I saw it, but I don't remember it now.
Let me pull it
like
up.
months later.
Sienna.
Yeah.
So, dude, her mom's death in the movie is actually like one of the quicker deaths, but it's like just so fucking brutal. Like Art basically blows her head off with a double barrel shotgun. Like,
yeah, and
I think like that's the thing with these movies too. Like they pull no punches about who survives in this shit. Like a lot of these movies, like they probably wouldn't kill the mom off. There'd be no need, but Art literally just blows her fucking head clean. Like just there's nothing left.
and then her son comes home, and his mom's corpse is just sitting at the head of the table. And Art fucking
my
like starts
God.
shoving mashed potatoes into the hole that is her head. And then laughing at the kid who's just like staring at his mom's corpse being force-fed mashed potatoes. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? I mean, it's just an insane fucking balls to the wall, like it takes the slasher movie to like just a whole other level of fucked up. And I goddamn love it for it.
Dude, it is just like it's one of those films that.
Do you have to see the first one? You do not have to see the first one.
I've only seen Terrifier 2. This one's gonna make an impression on you. There's no way you're just gonna watch this movie and be like, that was forgettable.
I would recommend seeing the first one because it is also good. But you know, if you just want to see the second one, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, here's a description of some of the things. Okay, at a Halloween party, this is part of the plot. Brooke, which is Sienna's friend, they go out, spikes her drink with MDMA and attempt to calm her, but she has a panic attack when she's the little pale girl, which is like basically Art's first victim. Brooke and her boyfriend Jeff drive Sienna home, but the little pale girl impersonates Jonathan over the phone and lures Sienna to the Terrifier haunted attraction, which is awesome. Like, by the way, when it ends in a fucking just like basically creepy amusement park. A defunct carnival where Art killed her years before. Art castrates and kills Jeff, chases Brooke into the haunted attraction by throwing acid on her face, bludgeoning her to death, and eating her heart.
That was also cool.
Yeah, like dude, there's a scene where Art is making the weapon that kills her too. It's like basically like a table leg, and he puts a bunch of nails and shit through it, and like just brutally fucking just smashes her fucking head in.
What's the first one about though? They're both about a clown that brutally murders everybody. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's not heavy on plot for the most part. I mean,
no.
I guess the second one has a little bit more of a fucking story going on, and
so I guess
but honestly, like a lot of the story elements, and this could change as the series progresses, but a lot of the story elements are kind of confusing, to be honest with you. Like it's implied that the girl, what is her name, Sienna?
Yeah.
It's implied that she has some sort of supernatural powers and that she's like maybe some sort of like angelic figure to counter the devilish power of Art, but it's not really explained very much. So,
well, she has a dream. She has a dream about this clown cafe place that's like basically like I don't know how you would describe it. Like it's basically like some disgusting like sort of thing. Like it's almost like Art's fantasy.
Yeah, it's almost like I don't even know how to describe it. You can go watch the scene on YouTube. It's a great trailer for the movie, honestly. And there's like this woman who's like singing this song about the clown cafe, and the song is actually pretty catchy. And then you know, there's a lot of blood and guts.
Art has this garbage bag. It's like one of his things. His calling cards. He
basically carries around a big garbage bag full of like torture implements.
And some other random stuff too. So like initially when that song is going, he's handing out nice little thing. Oh, here you go, have this. And
is
then
it
eventually
more or less serious than Dr. Giggles? I'm not really sure because I don't think I've seen Dr. Giggles, but
But I guess
I'll tell you this: Art the Clown is a real clown. Like, he does clown shit. He's
He
not.
does.
So many of these movies with scary clowns, they don't really act like clowns. Art actually acts like a clown while he's fucking murdering you in the most brutal way possible. So
Yeah, like it's almost like it's a joke to him. So apparently, looking at I pulled up Art's the Clown Wikipedia. Apparently, his debut was actually in a short film called The Ninth Circle.
yeah, so this clown's been around for a minute, but he's great. I mean, you really can't fuck around. I mean, it's just everything he does is funny as fuck. He's a crazy fucking piece of shit, and
Just one of the most brutal horror movies you'll ever watch. I mean, it really is. It does not skimp on the violence. It
yeah, I
is
mean,
not-
if you're a slasher fan and you've always kind of felt like you wanted to see that genre pushed to the next level of carnage, this is definitely the fucking movie you got to check out.
yeah, the opposite. Like it's actually honestly described as the opposite of Pennywise. It's not the taunting, menacing clown. It's the silent, just brutal, but at the same time, like lovable, laughable clown.
So I did want to talk about the show Wednesday.
I have not seen
Okay.
this, so I can't add too much to it.
I did a review of it. Yeah, that like about this. Like, one thing about this show is that there's gonna be definitely times when we come on and like one of us is not going to have seen what the other one has. There's a few things here that Scotty has not seen that I pulled.
I have heard a lot of good things about Wednesday. Definitely some criticism too, but
I did a
mainly-
whole review on it on this channel. So if anyone wants to know my like full opinions on it, you know, you can go check it out there. So I won't talk about it too much here, but I don't know, Scott, if you got any questions about it, I'll answer your questions.
Okay, so I guess my question would be, I mean, the show is Wednesday, so the main focus, how much is the Addams family actually playing to it? Is it mainly just Wednesday because she's the central character, or are they playing it quite a bit?
As far as the rest of the family goes, Morticia and Gomez do play a part, like a significant part. They're not super integral to the story, but they do make a lot of like cameo type appearances and stuff. And everyone in the show is pretty good, but no one is quite as good as the 90s movie versions of themselves. So, like, I don't remember the name of the guy who plays Gomez. I think Catherine Zeta-Jones plays Morticia, but she's not as good as Angelica Houston was in the 90s movies. The guy who plays Gomez is good, but he's not as good as the guy as Raul Julia.
Oh, Raul Julia, I mean, he was perfect for that role. He just
Right.
nailed that role.
And you know, they got Uncle Fester. He's not as good as fucking Christopher Lloyd. Wednesday, even though she's a titular character, I don't think quite hits the mark as well as Christina Ricci, but I also think it's kind of hard to maintain that Christina Ricci Wednesday energy for the runtime of an entire show.
Oh,
because
for sure.
you have to carry more emotional moments and stuff like that. You can't just like, it wouldn't be very good. It wouldn't be very good. The show wouldn't have very good drama if she was just like that Wednesday the entire time. I don't.
Yeah,
think.
I'm just a creepy little kid. You know what I mean? Obviously,
Right,
that's what she's older
because
too.
as entertaining as that is, it is pretty one note. So
Well,
they have to introduce a little bit more complexity to the character, but
well, in the film,
character does lose some sort of entertainment value, I think, because of that.
Well, the kids were younger in the films too. I think
Sure.
she's a little bit. She's aged. I mean, she looks like a teenager here.
Yeah, and she's a teenager in this show for sure.
Whereas like they're more like what 10 or 11 or something in the movies.
Yeah, I mean, even younger, I think, in the first one, and then in the second one, they were maybe young, maybe 12 or something. But in this thing here, this show, I would say it probably harkens more back to Harry Potter kind of stuff than it does to the Addams Family. It's kind of more just like, let's give a little bit of an Addams Family vibe to some Harry Potter shit. But apparently a very successful formula, because this is now, I think, the third most watched show in Netflix history after Stranger Things and Squid Game. So
I've seen
massive hit. Hopefully the budget will be bigger for this the next season based on that, because one of the things that does definitely suck about this show is that there's a monster in it. And the monster, I think the design of the monster is kind of fun, kind of classic Tim Burton design, but the execution of it is poop.
So why do you think the show did as well as it did? I mean, you watched the whole thing.
I'll tell you exactly why I think the show does well. I think Wednesday Addams is just a super fucking relatable goddamn character because I think a lot of people, whether they project it to the world or not, kind of have her attitude of just like, yeah, shut the fuck up. Fuck you. I'm just here to do my own thing. I'm not really a people person. I'm not looking to make friends with everybody. I think it's the same reason that Data was so popular in Star Trek: The Next Generation. It's just like this oddball character that's kind of like, on the outskirts of society. I think a lot of people feel that way. I think, it's weird to say because obviously if everyone feels like an outsider, then that you're not really an outsider. But
Right.
I think it's just like people are uncomfortable in their own skin. People are uncomfortable in social situations. People are just tired of this idea of fitting in. And so a character that just like truly doesn't give a shit or who experiences these things in a sort of naive or innocent way, or even a super cynical or jaded way, is more compelling than a character that just fits in easily,
But
So
and it just expresses that too. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. 'Cause a lot of TV shows, like in movies, like characters, like unless they're like just like this is an outcast or a social pariah, generally have pretty healthy social relationships, social circles. Like, right, they just fit in everywhere. It's like, especially that 90s and 2000s movies where it's like, yeah, I got a bunch of buddies and I live in a nice house and it's like everything's great in my life and I'm just wonderful.
and so many of these shows about like, this is a teen drama primarily. If you watch
Right.
like a lot of these teen dramas, like I don't know, Cobra Kai is the only other one I actually have as part of my consumption diet. I don't think I really watch too many of these, but as far as these kind of shows go, usually everybody is like part of like a tight knit circle of friends that can all have each other's backs and stuff. And it's kind of nice to have something that's like not so much like that. Now, Wednesday, of course, does end up making friends and all that and blah, blah, blah. But she's always sort of like, it doesn't back away from her kind of being like a shitty friend in some ways because she doesn't quite care about her friends as much as she, I guess, should. So I don't know. I feel like they really capture a lot of what made the 90s Addams Family work. Clearly that they were going for more of that vibe than they were the fucking classic TV show or anything.
Right.
And I don't know. I feel like they really did do a pretty good job showing you, hey, do you remember the Wednesday Addams from the 90s movies? That was like probably one of the more breakout characters from those films. Well, here she is a little bit older and more as the focus. And I think it does work. I think it could have worked better than it did. And I think they do need to go a little bit darker and a little bit less teen drama-y. I think they could probably ditch a lot of the stuff from about the Hogwarts kind of angle and all that. I think they could go a different direction with it.
You always know the first season of a successful show is usually the weakest season for that reason because some things work, some things don't. I will say this: whoever's portraying Wednesday definitely looks the part of it.
Jenna Ortega, and she is definitely good at what she does in this show. She carries it well. She can play the character. Now, the character, I mean, the weakest part about this show is probably the writing, and they really do need to fucking do better on that. But I'm intrigued to watch a second season. But honestly, if I don't see them fix some of the issues that plagued the first season, I don't know if I'd see a third. And if you want if you want to see a more detailed review of it, you can check out the video I did here on this very channel.
Yeah, I'll put a link to it down below.
He's not going to remember to do that. Just going to go find it.
Fuck that. I'll do it right now. How about that, bitch?
All right.
Fuck you, TJ. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do it. All right.
But, of course, let's talk about this is a movie that I think Scotty and I both saw in theaters, right?
Yes.
This is Violent
Violent Night.
I forget this dude's name. David Harbour or something? Or
It is. It's David Harbour.
That's his whole name?
Also on Stranger Things. He's the sheriff.
Yeah, the character that was good in the first season and then never pretty much again. But hey, he's good in this movie though. He's great as like this disgruntled Santa Claus that's kind of like lost the Christmas spirit to a degree.
Dude, the opening of that is great, dude. When Santa's getting fucking drunk and shit, like the movie opens strong. He's like, they're like, oh, that guy was like, oh, he's Santa. Santa's throwing back. Oh, I guess I better get on my route. And as he like the woman goes on the roof, it's like, yeah, you can't go out that way. And he fucking pukes on her. That's one of the best openings to a goddamn movie I've ever seen. I'm like, yes. That was the moment I'm like, this movie, unless it can lose me, I'm probably gonna end up liking this movie.
And it's crazy. David Harbour is an actor that I always want to like, but he keeps doing shit I don't like. Like So he was great in the first season of Stranger Things, and I really liked his character in that show. And then for the next few seasons, it just seems like they never knew what to do with him after that first season. And then I saw him doing a character in Black Widow, and I was like, "Ooh, yeah, that's gonna be cool. That's gonna be cool."
Yeah, not that
And
great.
it wasn't great. And there was that thing he was gonna play. Oh, he's gonna play Hellboy. That's gonna be really great, and it wasn't great.
Hellboy was awful.
And then and it's like he's a guy that I really want to like him in shit, and I just haven't had much reason to, because it seems like a lot of times, even though he does come across as a pretty talented guy, it's just like they don't put him in the right vehicle, they don't give him the right lines, they don't give him the right character. And this movie knows how to use David Harbour fucking perfectly. Like, he's better in this than I've ever seen him in anything else. He fucking he plays the Santa role immaculately, right? Just like he's the perfect fucking Santa that's just the right mix of, he can do the sentimental, sappy, Christmas magic Santa, but he's also fucking, jaded
Dude,
and cynical enough to play the fucking action hero Santa,
Imagine like Rick from Rick and Morty and Santa Claus meet, have a baby, and that's this Santa, dude.
That's true.
It's
Very
like,
true.
dude, like a fucking drug. You even see it here. It's like he's just like crusty. He's kind of grimy, and the whole time you're kind of wondering, because Santa in this can, like, here's the thing I liked about this too. Santa can take damage in this movie. It's not like just Santa's obviously a mythical
Yeah,
character.
he's not. Yeah, he's not. They don't give you some invincible Santa. Like, he can die. He can be hurt. He's not this impervious being that can't be harmed or anything. He gets fucked up. It wouldn't be a proper. I mean, like, this movie. Okay, this movie is Die Hard with Santa Claus as John McClane.
Yeah,
and then a little bit of Home Alone thrown in, and a little bit of Silent Night, Deadly Night thrown in.
It's an homage to a lot of other films, for sure. I mean, you can really see that. I mean, the Home Alone scene is apparent, but I mean, obviously, yeah, Die Hard is probably the biggest inspiration for this. Which, I mean, a lot of movies are Die Hard, like Under Siege, the fucking Steven Seagal movie.
Yeah, but this movie,
Die Hard. It's Die Hard on a train. Die Hard in this place. Die Hard here.
This is Die Hard with Santa Claus. And
Yes.
As far as these Die Hard ripoffs go, this is one that kind of is like, they're not trying to hide it. They're not trying to be like, this is a totally original. They're like, we're Die Hard with Santa Claus. They embrace it, which I think is a good thing. And one of the things that was that I was had reservations about going into this movie is, I'm like, okay, cool. I like the idea of a violent Santa Claus. I like the idea of David Harbour in this role. I like the idea of making a movie that is half typical sentimental Christmas movie and then half brutal action film. And it really does pull that off very well. And it's funny because, like, the heartfelt, sentimental, sappy stuff is truly what it needs to be. It's actually affecting. It's not just there to, like, contrast with the violence. It actually does have that old Christmas feel to it. But then when it gets violent, it's balls to the wall. But the one thing I was kind of reluctant about going into this movie is, like, John Leguizamo is the fucking villain in this movie.
He's Scrooge. Literally,
yeah, he plays a character. Well, he plays a guy that's going by the name of Scrooge as like a code name. And but yeah, that's how you know him. And I was kind of like, oh man, I don't know about that. Like, it's not that I don't like John Leguizamo as an actor. It's just like, I don't really view him as like an intimidating villain in an action movie. But I have to say, he did a really fucking good job. He played the shit out of that role. He took it way more fucking seriously than it needed to be, and he fucking commits to it 100%, and he does fucking knock it out of the park, in my opinion. So really nothing bad I could say about this movie. Probably one of the best movies I saw this year, to be honest with you.
The Home Alone setup is great, dude. I love
best
that
part of the fucking movie.
Yeah, it's the best part of the movie. Like, they literally set this up so, like, basically this family is taken hostage. They have a bunch of money, and there's a little girl, and she's like trying to hide. Like, Santa Claus is basically trying to protect her. Like, he's lost his faith in Christmas, but he sees this little girl and she needs help, and it's like, Santa, you're the only one that can help. So she gets away from the bad guys. She's hiding in an attic, and she's like, okay, Santa, I'm gonna set up some booby traps. And you're kind of like, okay, if a kid actually tried to set up booby traps like Home Alone, there's no way it'd fucking work, or kill the person. It'd be brutal. But there's just no way it's so, like, you see it, and it's the most obvious setup. It's like there's a nail. She's basically in an attic. They have the stairs that come down, and there's like a nail sticking up, and it's like, this kid thinks they're gonna pull this shit off. and what ensues is probably the
Don't even spoil it for
yeah,
me, dude.
yeah, it's probably one of the greatest scenes. You have to, I think the movie's
Even
on,
if you don't watch this movie, you gotta fucking watch
Go
the
watch-
Home Alone homage that happens about an hour and some change in.
it is a fucking stain of beauty.
I mean, it is gorgeous and gorgiosity made fucking cinematic flesh or whatever. It's perfect.
What I will spoil is this: Scrooge's death is amazing.
Oh my god, dude, he has
a Mortal Kombat fatality.
as far as the, I mean, like, you know, I've seen a lot of movies where the final villain has, like, they obviously, you try to give the last villain the biggest, most grandiose death in this kind of movie. And, you know, a lot of movies have fallen short in that regard. I think about the death of, like, Cyrus the Virus at the end of Con Air. Great movie, but, like, Cyrus's death, kind of like, yeah, all right, he gets his head smashed or whatever. You know, it's like, they never seem to quite pull that off. This movie, the death of the final fucking villain is, I guess there actually was a death after his, now that I think about it, but still, his death in this movie is fucking insanely the most perfect fucking death you've ever. It's got to be like one of the top 10 deaths you've ever seen in a fucking movie.
Well, if you've read the was the night before Christmas, you know that Santa can go up the chimney he touches his nose, like, and then he goes right back up the chimney. He has, like, you know, basically, so like that movie takes that you know, lore and puts it in there. So David Harbour or Santa does use that in the movie. So they fight, and I guess there's like an old abandoned house or whatever, but the fireplace still exists, and they're fighting and shit. And the way Santa kills Scrooge is he fucking uses his ability. Of course, Santa can travel that way, but Scrooge is not magical. He fucking Mortal Kombat fatalities this fucking guy. He gets fucking ripped up through the chimney, breaking all of his limbs up. Santa wins. Fatality.
Yeah, Santa ends up standing at the top of the chimney holding a fucking a torso, basically. Oh my god, so great.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, some of the best fucking deaths in a fucking goddamn movie. Like, this movie does not disappoint. Like, you can see this concept, somebody like it, where it's like, we're gonna make Santa but violence. This is the one that actually pulled it off. They finally fucking pulled this shit off. I'd probably give this movie a 9 out of 10, to be honest with you. This is a great.
Yeah. Oh, we never did rate Terrifier 2, by the way. I would give this movie a 9 out of 10 as well. I would give Terrifier 2 a 9 out of 10 as well.
8 out of 10 for me for Terrifier. What was your rating for Wednesday, by the way? Someone asked that. We gotta get better.
I think I gave it a rating at the end of the video. I think I gave it like a 6.75 out of 10.
Okay,
6.5 felt too low and 7 felt too high, so I gave it a 6.75, which is a really shitty.
By the way, TJ,
rating,
fuck you. The link is in the description.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So if after you watch this or whenever, go down there and click, and you can see today's review of Wednesday.
I rewatched a childhood favorite of mine this Christmas season. I rewatched the Muppet Christmas Carol, which I watched.
God bless us, everyone.
I don't watch this every year, but I watch this every every few years, every other year or so, And I've always loved this movie. I love the Muppets, kind of. I'm not like a huge Muppet devotee, but I do like the Muppets. And I do like Michael Caine a lot. And I do like A Christmas Carol. I'm just like a big fan of A Christmas Carol.
It's a great story. It's honestly a great story. I mean, it's one of those stories that just...
There's a reason it's made. There's 20,000 versions of it made literally every Christmas. And it's parodied to death and, all this other stuff,
Yeah, it's just a really good basic story about humanity and about and it's really a story in a capitalist society that does it's not going to fucking cease to hit home, because there is you can see it in real life. Yeah, the day that A Christmas Carol does cease to hit home is honestly a good day, because that means that we're no longer doing things this way, which is good for us. So no time soon. It's not going to lose its power anytime soon, I guess. But so. Is this your favorite version of A Christmas Carol?
I can't really say that it is. I can say that I have a strong nostalgic connection to it.
Well, you were 7 when this came out, so obviously this is definitely...
And I saw it. I mean, I remember seeing this movie in theaters, and I think, our dad never really took us to too many kids movies. He always wanted to go see what he wanted to see, because he's kind of a selfish asshole that way. But I do think our dad actually took us to this one.
Yeah,
I think there's kind of maybe a happy memory about that. Actually going to see a movie with my dad that was for my sake and not his. So that was kind of cool.
Well, I'm sure it came out around Christmas time too, so it's probably like, take the boys to see a kids movie.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, it's fun. It's a fun movie, and it does stick pretty close to the source material. I mean, a lot of these versions of Christmas Carol deviate more than this one does, honestly. And Michael Caine is pretty good Scrooge. There's definitely times you could tell he's kind of phoning it in, but for the most part, he gives it a good the old college try or whatever the fuck.
I mean, he's acting with a bunch of fucking puppets. That's difficult. To be honest with you, it's very difficult when your feedback is a puppet.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, there's some good songs in there. There's some annoying songs too, though. But I do like the songs that really stand out to me as good are the opening song where it's like, there goes Mr. Humbug, there goes Mr. Grimm. I don't know what that song is called, but that's a good song. And then the Marley and Marley song that Stadler and Waldorf sing is fucking just really, honestly, a pretty fucking good song. The rest of the songs, they kind of devolve and more into sappy garbage as the movie goes on.
But A Christmas Carol does become more sappy. I mean,
sure,
especially the end of A Christmas Carol is sappy garbage. It's the fucking, it's the prick, the piece of shit realizing like, you know, I've lived actually a pretty terrible life, and the time I have left, let me atone. So I mean, of course, it's gonna go. In
the little bit of time I have left, let me atone for what a piece of shit I've been for all these years. But yeah, this is not the best version or anything, but it's a pretty good version, and especially if you got like kids or whatever.
For a
Disney
Muppets. Version, for a Disney version, is probably the best version, I would say.
I also did watch some of the Jim Carrey version this year. I didn't watch the whole thing, but that was actually pretty decent, and that one does stick very close to the source material as well, which I have not sat down and read A Christmas Carol, but I have listened to the audiobook version.
Jim Carrey is like a fucking. I'll tell you what. The thing I like most about Jim Carrey's Scrooge is like it's way over the top, because honestly, Scrooge is usually played about the same way.
Yeah,
like, there's not too much deviance in how Scrooge is honestly played, but Jim Carrey obviously did something totally fucking different with it, which I can really appreciate there too. I think it was one of those mocap Robert Zemeckis movies, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it definitely has a different look to it. But it's definitely, I mean, like, look, it's A Christmas Carol, so you know the story. It obviously, there's nothing that's going to be too unique about it. I just feel that Jim Carrey's performance really does carry that further than you have with most of those movies. Because, like I said, a lot of Scrooges are kind of like painted by the numbers, and that one definitely is not.
Yeah. But this one's pretty good. I mean, I think you could definitely do a lot worse than the Muppet version.
What's your rating on the Muppet Christmas Carol?
You know, probably watching it as an adult, taking off the nostalgia goggles, 6 out of 10. With the nostalgia goggles on, 7.5 out of 10.
I give it a solid 7. I think it's a good version. I think if you definitely love the story of A Christmas Carol, you'll like that one.
So you said you watched the George C.
Scott
version
I didn't even know
time this year.
I never knew this version existed. This was produced in the 80s, and I was honestly blown away because I've seen about 1 million different versions of it.
I think this was a made-for-TV movie too. So
I'm telling you, dude, I was completely impressed with this fucking movie. I was completely impressed with the casting, with the fucking visuals, with everything about this. Like literally, like, just the set design. This is like one of the most solid versions of A Christmas Carol. George C. Scott, I think, really encapsulates Scrooge as a character. I don't think anyone else I've seen perform this as really. I believed him as Scrooge more than any other person I've seen play Scrooge. I even like Patrick Stewart's another person that's done Scrooge, and even I don't even think him, as accomplished a Shakespearean actor as he is, topped this. I really don't think he did.
This is probably one of my 2 favorite versions of this movie. I think George C. Scott fucking totally kills it as Scrooge. He's totally believable as just like a grumpy ass, greedy old piece of shit.
He just feels like some of the other actors. I feel like it's just like they're performing this, but he just feels like fucking Scrooge. He feels like he has the perfect level of vitriol. He's like, it's not too much, it's not too little. He really is Scrooge. Like you feel that when he's like, he's talking to Mr. Cratchit. It's just like, oh, what, do you want to put more coal on the fire? He has that presence of like he is this every asshole, terrible fucking boss you can possibly imagine.
My favorite ones are this one, which I would, by the way, give like I don't know, 8 out of 10. Yeah, and I also give an 8 out of 10 to the Alistair Sim version.
I haven't seen that.
I think that one's from 1955. It's from the 50s. That one's also really good. That Alistair Sim, I think, does the best at portraying, I think, the transformation of Scrooge. Like, I think a lot of these guys, they're either really good at being the unrepentant piece of shit Scrooge, or they're really good at being like the reformed Scrooge.
Yep.
And I think that, you know, like very few people can take you on the full journey of the character arc
I
over
agree
the
with
course of that one night. A lot of times, either like they fuck it up at some point, and the two guys I feel like really nailed the whole fucking transformation are George C. Scott and Alistair Sim. Two pretty different portrayals of Scrooge, but both really effective. But this George C. Scott version, I'd give an 8 out of 10. I'd give the Alistair Sim version 8 out of 10 as well.
I have to watch that one. No, I totally agree with you at that point, though. Yeah, a lot of time with Scrooge, it's like either like the reformed Scrooge is like you really feel that more than the beginning part, but just to take you on that entire journey where it's like I'm an asshole, I'm unrepentant, and to see the transformation in the character, like to like, what I really love about this one is the light. Like the light is shining, and he's trying so desperately to just put out this light of like basically like let me shine a light on what you've done, and like and just the transitions they did. So if this actually was a made for TV movie,
It was.
it blows my mind. It was because it was a fucking amazing performance and just an amazing film.
My favorite Xmas movie is Xmas Vacation. How do you rate it? 80s PG-13 was great. Yeah, Christmas Vacation is a classic. I don't know why I didn't pull it, but I did watch that this year. I don't watch that movie every Christmas. There's no movie that I watch every Christmas, but
No,
there's a lot of movies. There's movies that are in my Christmas rotation, and Christmas
Die
Vacation
Hard
is one of them.
I watched Die Hard, but people argue that's debated if that is a Christmas movie. I believe it is.
It is 100%. I don't even think that debate rages on. I'm pretty sure the side that says it's a Christmas movie won that shit. Hey, TJ, banana. Thanks. Yeah, I'll take a banana.
Thanks, nice badger.
Just stick it right in my butt.
Right in my butt.
But as far as I did watch Christmas Vacation this year. I always love watching that movie. It's always funny to me. Whatever you want about the dude in terms of like his real life personality is awful.
It's about Chevy Chase.
But Chevy Chase is a great comedic actor, and he was at his height.
Oh, back then,
Christmas Vacation.
It's a classic for a reason. It's a really good movie. I'd probably give Christmas Vacation personally like a 7 out of 10.
I'd give it an 8.
And it's definitely rewatchable as well.
All right, let's get into some schlock, because what is the Christmas season without some schlocky shit? So I'm a big fan of The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs, and this year him and Darcy did the Ghoultide get together for Christmas, and they showed a double feature of Christmas films, one of which was Don't Open Till Christmas. This movie is a muddled mess of garbage that went through 4 directors during the production of the film. The first director was also the star of the movie, and when he quit directing, he also quit the film, and so the whole film had to be drastically rewritten to explain his sudden absence from the story. The story concerns it takes place in London, and it is about a serial killer who's going out and killing people who's dressed as Santa, except for halfway through the movie, his motivation changes and he just starts killing random women.
Okay.
And basically the movie the movie never makes sense. Nothing follows anything else. It's like it really feels like you're watching a random hodgepodge of scenes that only very tenuously click together.
So it's a muddled mess, is what you're saying.
This movie is a total fucking mess. A total fucking mess. However, it's actually pretty fucking watchable, because basically every time the movie starts to get boring and you're just like, oh my God, they just kill another person. They're just like, all right, it's getting dull again. Kill somebody else.
Kill somebody. Isn't that one of the strengths of horror movies, though, is that they can just like, okay, now someone's going to be killed. There's going to be some brutal murder scene.
And it's really crazy because the murders, for the most part, are not all that cool. Like, most of the deaths are just like someone getting stabbed in the gut and just falling over dead. But for some reason, it keeps it going. It's just funny enough to hold your interest throughout the movie. And then if there's like a few scenes in the movie that are actually like really pretty fucking awesome, like there's a scene where a Santa Claus gets chased through the London dungeon, and there's all these, wax figures of like people being tortured and stuff, and
That's cool.
and the whole set piece is just great. And I mean, but the logic of the scene makes no sense unless you were to believe that the guy chasing the Santa Claus was already just waiting at the London dungeon in case a Santa Claus ran in there.
Any minute now. Any minute now.
And then he kills a woman and then somehow gets ahead of the guy he's chasing and sets up her dead body. And,
I mean, the horror movies or movies for that part have to make sense.
Well, I'm just letting you know this movie has no internal logic whatsoever.
Listen to this. Enough oddity, sleaziness, and mirth-inducing badness to tickle the fancy of any 80s slasher aficionado.
I would say that Hysteria Lives review is accurate. If you want to see just a total dumb fuck, no logic, so bad it's good,
sleazy grindhouse-esque film.
This is, I mean, it's definitely the sleaziest Christmas movie you'll ever fucking watch. There's not a sleazier one than this. It's just like amoral characters and no fucking semblance of a plot, and just like ridiculous violence, but not over the top in the way like Terrifier 2 is or anything, but just like,
well, you can tell too this movie because like the box art probably has nothing to do with the movie. It's just like
no, and the way this movie ends, I will not give it away, not because I would be spoiling anything, but just because like you will be shocked at the fucking way the movie ends. Not because anything is good about it, but just like
it comes out of left field. I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's just the most abrupt, out of nowhere fucking ending to where everyone in the room just looks at each other and goes, "What the fuck?" I mean,
I always love,
definitely watch this with somebody for sure. If you got a friend or anybody who like would be fun to watch a fucking retarded piece of shit movie with, watch this fucking movie and watch it before the Christmas season expire. I know we're past Christmas now, but I think up until New Year's we got a little bit of Christmas left. So if you want to fucking put something on with your friends and just have a laugh, fucking tune this one in, or fucking make a little mental note like next year or something.
I think if Joe Bob Briggs shines anywhere as like a person that selects these movies, he always picks really good movies for a crowd. You know what I mean? And that's what it sounds like. This sounds like a crowd pleaser you talk during, because it doesn't really, you're not missing anything. You're not going to miss.
Yeah, you can sit there and talk to your friends throughout this movie, and just
you're not
going to
miss something because like, oh, we missed this big plot point. Like they had 4 directors. The plot makes no sense. The plot might as well,
know your place, Scotty.
Hey, if you keep giving me money, I'll show me my place by giving me more money. Yeah, I don't think I've learned my place yet. Can you tell me again how to learn my place, but for money, of course?
Yeah, let Scotty know his place.
If they want to pay me to tell me my place, I mean, I'm all about hearing it. So what do you obviously not a masterpiece, but what do you rate this? I mean, you obviously are a schlock person, TJ.
I mean, look, I'm gonna rate it as in terms of pure entertainment value, I'm gonna say 7 out of 10. In terms of actual quality of the movie, probably 3 out of 10.
That sounds about fair.
But yeah, in terms of raw entertainment value,
I definitely want to watch it. I'll tell you that. What you've told me about it, this sounds like a movie I definitely.
Oh, dude, you fucking.
I want to smoke a joint and watch this. Let's put it that way,
dude. Yeah, get some green. Sit down with Taylor or whoever and fucking watch this fucking goddamn movie and just make fun of it the whole time. You'll have a fucking blast. I'm telling you, this movie is fun to fucking watch. It really is.
Take up on that one.
So here's the other fucking half of Joe Bob's feature this year was this movie here, A Christmas Horror Story, which is a Canadian film that I have to say probably would have been a lot better if it hadn't gone. Okay, so here's the thing about this movie. It's not really, the title is bad because it's not really a Christmas horror story. It's an anthology.
Okay.
All right. How many times did I teach you this lesson, old man? So here's the thing about this movie that makes it suck. Okay. The thing about this movie that sucks, by the way, the Krampus in the movie looks nothing like the one in the box here.
I'm about to say, like, Santa fighting this goddamn fucking evil looking Krampus looks on the face of it pretty fucking cool.
Okay. So this does happen in the movie and it is cool. And honestly, the Krampus in the movie looks better than the one they have on the box. I don't know why they did this.
He almost looks like a fucking like they came up with a concept for a Mortal Kombat character and then they scrapped it. That's what that Krampus looks like. Like
It does.
Yeah, it just looks like a failed Mortal
I
Kombat.
render unto Kaiser Scotty. What is Scotty's?
Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's.
To be honest with you, the Krampus that's actually in the movie looks better than this Krampus. So I don't really know why they have this guy on the box, because the one in the movie actually looks cooler. Because the one in the movie,
they pull a picture of it or something.
They basically just found a dude. They basically just found a super muscular dude that was like 6'7" and painted him white. I think it looks kind of cheap, but it also looks pretty fucking badass because he looks completely real because it just is his actual physique.
TJ, is Bill Shatner in this movie?
He is. I'll tell you about it. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm looking for the monster from it.
I'll find it. Hold on. I'll get it for you.
Oh, okay. I see it. Here, I can just...
Yeah, he doesn't... He's not... I mean, I guess he kind of looks like that, but not really. You know, if you fucking actually see him in the movie, yeah, he just like a...
Yeah, here you have it.
There you go.
I mean, it looks a little cheesy, but still looks pretty cool.
I mean, it's not a high-budget film. I mean, but it's... Where is he? I know he's in this fucking...
I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know.
There you go. That
Krampus.
motherfucker is right there.
Krampus, I don't know you. Please.
I don't know the man. But anyway, so this movie here, this movie also has a pretty good ending. But here's the weakness of this movie. Okay, so it's a horror anthology. Okay,
Right.
So, but instead of showing you all of the stories consecutively with like some kind of framing device, like they could have easily done, like, I'm gonna read you. Could have like an old grandpa or something be like, "You think Christmas is a holiday of cheer? Let me tell you what's really going on." And then they could have opened up like the book of like the true horror Christmas stories or whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah, it's cliche, but yeah, you usually want that thread that ties all this shit together.
Instead, they just kind of like leap from story to story, and they don't tell them consecutively. They tell them all at once, which means they're constantly switching from one to the other.
Wait,
and
what?
They don't really tie together.
So it's an anthology that you're supposed to literally remember, like the other storyline has nothing to do with the other storyline.
But here's the other thing about that. A horror story doesn't start with horror. It builds towards horror. So the entire first half of the movie barely has any fucking horror in it because you're still waiting for all these stories to get going. So I think that's really the weakness of this movie. I really think it would have been a better movie if they would have just shown you each one in order. Like, here's this one, here's this one, here's this one, here's this one, here's this one.
Or just had one story.
Right. Well, yeah. And obviously, like all anthologies, like some stories are stronger than others, but the fact that they're all split up like that, I think kind of hurts the movie, and I don't really like that. I think they'd have been better off doing like the creep show thing with it. But the movie does, to its credit, have a really memorable, interesting ending that is kind of out of left field that you don't necessarily see coming. I don't want to spoil it because it really is like a cool twist ending. But this movie is worth watching, but I don't recommend it as heartily as I do the other one. I would give this one a like solid 5.5 out of 10. So I would say anything above a 5 for me is like in the worth watching category, but it's barely there.
TJ,
if you've seen a bunch of Christmas horror movies and this is one you haven't seen yet, check it out.
How dare you insult this fine film, TJ?
Honestly, Bill Shatner is pretty good in this. He plays a radio DJ, and he pretty much comes across exactly like you'd want a radio DJ to come across. And the best story in this, by the way, is Santa Claus fighting a zombie outbreak in the North Pole, and all of his elves are coming at him as zombies and stuff.
Dude,
there's a great line. I have to read this. I have to read this line for you from this movie to you.
Sure.
Or even if I can find the fucking scene. Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can find the scene first because it's the best line in movie history.
Guys, listen to Chelsea. She knows what to do. Please like the stream.
Oh, let's see. I gotta fucking see if I find the scene.
If anyone's looking for something amazing to watch, Chainsaw Man. I am looking for something amazing to watch, so I'll put it on my list.
Okay, so I can't find the fucking scene, but if you watch this movie, you'll know exactly what I'm fucking talking about. It's I an elf insults Mrs. Claus in a super entertaining fashion. And I don't want to give it away. I don't want to try to replicate it without knowing the exact line.
But suffice it to say, you probably just don't insult Mrs. Claus and get away with it.
And well, suffice it to say that it's one of the best lines you'll ever fucking hear in a fucking goddamn movie. It's so nasty and obscene and raunchy and degenerate.
Okay.
Yeah.
You piqued my interest in that one.
So another holiday movie
I watched. You know what?
Yeah.
I lied again. I watch Home Alone every year for Christmas.
So you're such a fucking lying son of a bitch, guy.
I am a lying motherfucker. Do I have a terrible memory? So I just like forget shit like that.
But I watched Home Alone and Home Alone 2 this year. I didn't see all of Home Alone 2, but I saw enough of it to count, I think. So
my favorite scene in that one, look, it's a tremendous scene. They have the best scene.
So the thing I don't understand about Home Alone 2 is it pretty much hits every single plot point the first movie hits without any sort of exception, right? But the one thing that they didn't do very well in the second one is they decide like, hey, instead of the creepy old bearded man that shovels the walk or whatever,
the pigeon lady,
and she's like this like sweet looking cherubic woman who just looks like so nice and angelic and wholesome, and it's just like, what?
Yeah, why
are you scared of her, Kevin? What the fuck, bro?
Someone pointed out it's like Kevin literally has a penthouse at the plaza and all kinds of shit, like food and everything else, like eating like junk food for room service, and doesn't offer any help.
I know.
What a little prick,
he's a little rich kid, so what do you expect?
A little fucking prick. He's like, oh, you helped me. That's nice. I have nothing to give for you in return. Oh, maybe a crappy present at the end.
Didn't he gave her one of the little turtle doves? Here, take a little piece of shit turtle dove or whatever.
A fucking goddamn bourgeoisie fucking kill Kevin. Oh, have a turtle dove. I know you're living in poverty on the streets of New York, but
Kevin is a little sociopathic piece of shit, right? I mean, like he literally devises traps to torture people rather than call the police. Like when presented with the option of like, hey, someone is going to burglarize your house, you can call the police and let them know, like, hey, these guys are planning to burglarize this house.
Not to mention the first Home Alone, he could walk literally into town, which he does, and it's like, my parents left me home alone, and like I'm scared and I have nothing to help me, and I'm like 7 years old, and they're like, oh, okay, Kevin, we'll help you. Like, end of movie, right? It's like his parents are rushing to get home. It's like Kevin never thinks of any of this. Like, maybe I should ask for fucking help. It's like, nope, let me just try to live as an adult. And
they never call the house either. Do they even explain why they never call?
The phone lines are down.
Oh, okay.
Remember that there's a blizzard. They send a cop over there, like the laziest cop ever, like knocks on the door. Well, maybe not ever.
The cop doesn't even announce he's a cop. When I was watching the movie, he's just like,
hey, kid.
Ain't nobody here. Tell me to count their kids again. It's like, what?
Count your kids again? You worthless fucking donut muncher.
It always surprised me how much the family are assholes. Dude, his family is horrible.
Oh, dude, one of my favorite scenes in Home Alone, the original Home Alone, is not. It's like, look, obviously the booby traps and all that shit is great. It's when his family comes back. Everyone gets back. They literally were with Kevin for like 2 fucking seconds, and like, well, Kevin, are you breathing? That's great. Well, back to our fucking self-centered, narcissistic lives. And you're like, what the fuck? This kid was left home alone. You went to another country. You know, like, what the fuck? You're just like, his dad's like, hey, champ. Well, looks like you're still breathing, but daddy's got to catch the game. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, they're just like right back. Like, they're just like breathe. Like, they kind of like pat him on the head and walk on by. You know, like, oh, Kevin, hey, how you doing, bud?
I'm spitting mad. I'm fucking shit spits flying on my fucking mouth. I can't fucking believe this shit. Every time I watch it, it blows my fucking mind. Like all the other shit, it's like, yeah, it's obviously it's kind of unbelievable. But the fact when the family gets back and they just don't really give a fuck about Kevin, that's what really just fucking blows my mind more than anything in that fucking movie.
Kevin! And then they do it twice, and he's in New York. I mean, you could just, I don't know, man. So as far as these movies go, even though they are weird and there's a lot of stuff in them that the more you watch them, the more it's like, huh? Wait, what?
Yeah, they make no sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, once you get past all that shit, you know, or if you're just like someone who doesn't really
get from our generation, this is like every kid's fucking fantasy. Was like,
oh yeah.
That's why this works
remember how many fucking kids like would set up little lame traps and stuff, just be like, yeah, let's play it like, you know, we're just some traps like Kevin from Home Alone.
Oh,
You
dude,
know?
and that's why the movie's really remembered. It's the booby trap scenes, dude. Like that just sells this fucking movie. It's like you're like, and that's obviously, honestly, a very small
You know
part
what's
of it.
fucked up? There's like the scene of I keep thinking of other fucking shit from this movie. Like when in the scenes, like at the beginning, where they keep saying like they keep telling Kevin like, "You gotta sleep with Fuller. He
Oh
wets the
god,
bed. You're gonna sleep with
yeah.
Fuller, bitch."
If Fuller has anything to drink, he's gonna be wet in the bed. Then he looks over at Fuller and he's drinking a Pepsi and he smiles at Kevin.
Yeah,
It's
and
like, oh
so like
god.
so he like not only does he like the level of situational awareness they give Fuller in that moment is fucked up, because not only does he is he like drinking that,
He knows
he's
what
literally
gonna do.
looking at Kevin. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna pee on you, bitch."
Oh,
He's like,
yeah. And they're all mean to Kevin too. Like Kevin really does not really do anything that's that out of line. Like
especially like in a family full of sociopathic, narcissistic assholes, Kevin is pretty much just par for the course. But for some reason, he's just like treated way worse than the rest of them. Like
I love his uncle
emotionally
too.
abused and shit.
Look, I'll even say it in my regular life. Like I'm like, look what you did, you little jerk.
Yeah.
It's not even Kevin's fault. You're just a fucking asshole as like does not understand any extenuating circumstances. And it's like Kevin's what, like 7? Like you're literally getting pissed off at a fucking 7 or 8-year-old for like just being a 7 or 8-year-old.
69.com, girls looking for you or whatever. Yeah,
Hot.
great.
Ooh, hot.
Get
There
out.
there are some things you could like. Another great thing on Home Alone is all the small details you can recognize. Like number one, like when Kevin has the fight with like I think Buzz or whoever the fuck it is in the kitchen, his ticket gets thrown away. So that's another reason why Kevin gets left. When they're on the flight, like what do we forget? Oh, I left the garage open. If you could actually watch the movie, they did leave the garage open. Like there's just a number of things that if like you watch, like they all connect. So it's one of those movies where like if you really pay careful attention, all the shit does end up connecting in some way for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great movie. I mean,
Dude,
I would say, I mean, it's a holiday classic for a goddamn
dude,
reason.
and Joe Pesci and I don't know the other dude's name are great in it. It's the villain.
But they're both, yeah, he's great too. Whatever his name, might
watching
be.
Joe Pesci and get burned and they get fucking tortured and shit is just like it's just wonderful. Like them falling for all the traps or it makes the movie.
So yeah, as far as these go, I would say Home Alone. I don't know, probably 8 out of 10.
Yeah, original Home Alone's definitely
Home Alone 2, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, not quite as good. I'd say 6.
I'll give it an extra 0.1 for I'll do 7.1, and the 0.1 is on the strength of Tim Curry alone.
Oh, dude, yeah, he. You know what? I actually forgot about Tim Curry being in the second one. Yeah,
Tim Curry is great in the fucking second one. He's like one of the few things that actually breaks up the Home Alone formula just being totally recycled. And
yes,
so
where are your parents?
Cheese pizza. But he's kind of weird because like the second Kevin comes in that hotel, he's like going to Rob Schneider, which by the way, Rob Schneider's in Home Alone 2, which sucks balls.
And he's horrible in it, by the way.
Best part of Home Alone 2 is when the kid looks up in awe at the World Trade Center, then cuts the airport security. Best joke ever, aged like wine. Yeah. Plus Trump is in it.
Yeah, because he owned the hotel, the Plaza Hotel they filmed it at. So like he's like, look, you can use it, but I've got to be in it.
I barely remember Curry in that movie though. Small part. No, not really. He's actually in quite a bit of that movie. He's
trying to catch Kevin in a lie. Like as Kevin checks into the hotel,
he's probably in a good solid 10 minutes of that fucking movie. I mean, at least.
It's probably just been a while since that person is.
I don't know how much screen time he gets, but it's not insignificant. He's like not a main character, but he's a strong supporting role in there.
For sure.
And another thing about that movie that's like, okay, anyway, but I was talking about how Tim Curry is kind of creepy in it because like the second Kevin comes in, so this kid comes in the Plaza Hotel, and Tim Curry is immediately like, I want you to find out everything you can about that kid over there. It's like, why? Who the fuck? Wait, what?
Well,
why, bro?
Well, Kevin's got a pretty high speech level, so he talks his way into like, my mommy and daddy are going to check in. All right, you can check in, you little scamp.
I also love the fucking scene in the when he goes to like Central Park or whatever the fuck, and there's all these like low lives hanging around, and Kevin gets in the cab. It's like, thank goodness, it's scary out there. And then like this like nightmarishly ugly cab driver turns around and like, ain't much better in here, kid. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, yet again, it's like poor people are the enemy.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking classism hidden in these movies. So the messaging is not great.
Oh yeah, because Kevin's family is loaded. You can just tell. They live in a huge fucking house in like the Chicago suburbs or something. You know,
But anyway, I'd say 8 and 7 for these.
I'm a little harsh on the second one. I give it about 6.5.
Fair enough. It is a total rehash. So I've been watching. I don't want to talk too much about it because I only just started watching again last night. But I've had this weird hankering for a minute to rewatch Superman the animated series because I've I don't know. I remember watching it as a kid, but never really being too super into it. But I've kind of
There was Batman the animated series, which is superior,
right, which you compare it to just naturally, and I'm like, you know what? I want to watch this show without doing the Batman the animated series comparison, and just kind of like assess this for what it is. And so far so good, honestly. I don't want to give it a rating or anything yet because I just started watching, and I want to get through I'm just going to watch the whole series.
When did this originally come out? Do you know that? Because I remember watching
I think it just had its 25th anniversary not too long ago. So 90 something.
Okay.
I think mid 90s, like 95, 96, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
But I'm rewatching this right now, and I gotta say, definitely a lot better than I remember it being. Pretty fucking cool so far. I love how the first episode of this series doesn't even have Superman in it. Well, it has him as a little baby in it, but like they a lot of times when they tell the Superman story, they show him as an adult and they flash back to the Kryptonian origins. This actually starts on Krypton, where you're following his father, Jor-El, as he's trying to convince the council that the planet is going to be destroyed, and Brainiac is like, no, Jor-El's calculations are incorrect, because he's using the time to
save his own ass.
to save his own ass. Yeah. And so I mean, it's pretty fucking neat concept there. I mean, pretty interesting way to begin the show.
I remember Brainiac being a really great villain in this series. I remember they used him a lot of times.
I feel like they did he has a cool voice. I think that's what, and I mean, like, some of the animation in this show, way better than what I fucking remembered it being. I mean, like, a lot of times the actual like character models and stuff are kind of like, I'm not the biggest huge fan of them, but like a lot of the animation is super fluid and really beautiful, and a lot of the action is done very well, and there's almost like a strange anime feel to a lot of the show, which I didn't really get at all at the time when I was watching it growing up. So I'm really glad I've kind of come back to this, and I kind of want to see a Superman that goes back to his like very early like socialist roots, because I think Superman kind of is the best when he's acting as an equalizer for the little guy. So I want to see a more socialist Superman in the future. But I don't know who's going to give me that Superman.
Actually, Superman has to fight for the rich. TJ, look at that industrialist right there. He's about to be killed by Darkseid. I'll save him.
Superman saves Lois Lane 21 times in this series. Yes, I counted. Did you just count in the first like 3 episodes? Because I feel like he's already saved her 21 times, and I'm only on episode 7. So
yeah, Lois Lane finds herself in trouble quite a bit, and Superman's always there to save
I literally have always wondered, like, she is always falling off of something or about to get shot. And I'm like, how the fuck did you survive before Superman got here? Because you are always in mortal peril. How the fuck did you ever survive before this? But yeah, like I said, I don't want to talk about it too much because I want to watch more, but I just want to let people know as I was watching this series.
I don't remember the series too well, but I definitely have fond memories of it from what I do remember.
This is another movie I watched thanks to my subscription to Shudder and my appreciation for the films presented by Joe Bob Briggs.
Death by Temptation.
This movie is called Death by Temptation. This is a Christian horror movie with an all-black cast that features a succubus.
Ooh.
That is luring men back to her apartment, fucking them, and then killing them.
At least you get laid before you die. I will say that.
Yeah, and she will literally like. There's a scene where she seduces a gay dude somehow and brings him back, and then like the sex isn't all that, but then she just magically grows a dick and starts fucking him in the ass, and I'm like, okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, at least he gets what he wants.
There's a lot of like weird scenes in this with like some pretty good cinematography in the movie and a lot of saxophone music and shit like that, and some pretty decent special effects for the time.
So how
It's
does she
shot-
kill them? Is she like sucking their life force out? She just strangling them? Is
It's
she murdering
honestly
them?
kind of confusing how she kills them. Most of the time, you just kind of see her turn into a demon, and then it's kind of insinuated that she just sort of rips them apart.
Okay.
But you don't really see too much explicit detail. There is a scene where a guy gets sucked into a television, and then the television pukes out his guts.
That's
so
kind of
yeah.
interesting.
This is definitely a worth watching. It's kind of like surreal to see it. It almost feels like a movie that you can't believe exists when you're watching it. It's definitely B movie, definitely low budget horror. But if you're a fan of like low budget horror movies and you've never heard of this, which I have not until recently, it's worth fucking checking out. This is a horror movie. They say it's kind of from the grandma's perspective almost. She's not a major character, but like it almost reads like a grandma's fever dream about what's going to happen to her grandson when he goes to the big city. There's demons out there, boy. And I don't know, it's hard to fucking say exactly why I would recommend it, other than just say it's got like a lot of atmosphere, and it's just like really fun, and has some interesting special effects.
It's
and
probably
some
just-
interesting performances, and it's just a cool fucking this is like a little cool movie that you could fucking that doesn't really get talked about very much. So
It just sounds like a movie that's under the radar, like actually under the radar, that just surprised you.
yeah, and it's not. I'm not gonna fucking tell you it's a fucking masterpiece or anything. It's not, but it's an interesting movie, and you've probably never seen anything quite like it before. So if you're like tired of the same old shit, and you're looking for something that's a little fucking different that you haven't seen a million times, this is it. And by the way, there's strong Christian messaging in it. Like the demon is eventually prevailed over by the power of God and Jesus and blah blah blah. I don't really let that bother me because it is a movie about demons. So if you're fighting demons, fight it. I would say
what's your rating on this one?
I would say another fucking I don't really want to go 7 out of 10, maybe 69 out of 100.
Okay, 69 out of 100. All right. Well, fair enough. I mean, especially considering the subject matter of the movie.
And it is kind of cool. I think it's one of the first movies that, at least in the horror space, that had like no white cast members.
Oh no! Well, how am I supposed to relate to the characters?
I think there might be a white person as an extra here and there, but there's no white characters in this. Everyone's black, so that's kind of neat. It is a very black film.
Especially in there's not a lot of that in horror. I mean, there's more so now, obviously, but back then I don't think there was hardly any horror movies like that.
Yeah, this is a cool fucking flick, though. Not bad. If you have a Shudder subscription, definitely watch it with Joe Bob because he can explain a lot of the stuff to you. Oh, there is there's an interesting story about the woman who plays the demon in this. This is the only movie I think she ever did.
Okay.
She did this movie, vanished for 20 years, wrote a novel, comes back 20 years after writing this thing, writes a novel that gets on Oprah's book club, but only stays on the bestseller list for 6 weeks because the novel she wrote is so fucked up that even though it's apparently really good, most people can't handle it. And I think it's called Ruby.
Okay.
And I guess she's working on 2 sequels to it. It took her 20 years to write that one. So who knows if you'll ever read a sequel, but apparently she wrote a pretty fucked up book that is nonetheless received critical acclaim, but is too much for most readers.
Dude,
what is her name? I don't remember. I think it's her name. Her last name is Bond. The director's name is James Bond III. But she also has the last name Bond, but she's not related to the director. So go figure that out. I don't remember her whole name.
I mean, these small movies
you can look it up.
Attract like just weird people to them. I mean, like honestly, it's usually people within that community of just the people that making the film. Because I mean, it's like they have access to like top Hollywood actors or anything. And there's just some eclectic people that appear in these kind of projects. It's literally like people just and sometimes there's some really talented people. Obviously, she would probably more talented as a writer. I mean, because the thing about this movie is obscure, but to end up on Oprah's
I'd have to tell you, she's actually pretty good in this movie. I'm kind of surprised she never did any more acting. But
yeah, that is interesting when you see people like that in movies that go on to like have like a bigger acting career and they're in like a B movie or something. Because you can actually see like, wow, you really do see the diamond in the rough there with that person. But I guess she wasn't interested in it. She's like, I did my movie. That's it. I mean, there's people like that. Like, I want to be in a movie. They're in a movie and they're like, yeah, I'm good. I don't care about being in any more movies.
Yeah, I guess so. And apparently she was a total. She didn't form any relationships with anyone on the set. She just showed up, did her job, wasn't friendly with anybody, didn't make any friends. Apparently hated human beings and humanity in general.
I guess
Who is Joe Bob? Joe Bob Briggs is a writer and presenter who has been hosting horror movies on various formats for the better part of 30 or 40 years now.
I think
he's got his start on the movie channel with I think it was called Joe Bob at the Drive-In, and then he hosted a show called Monster Vision on TNT throughout the 90s.
That's where I saw him doing Monster Vision, and that was always really cool because like
today he hosts a show called the Joe Bob's Last Drive-In on or I think it's just called The Last Drive-In.
I'll be honest with you, I was never too much into horror movies as a kid. Like because I guess got way too scared by watching them. But just like I always loved Joe Bob Briggs because like it was just some weird cowboy dude that knew a bunch of shit about horror movies. And it's like almost like a contradiction. You know what I mean?
He has like an encyclopedic memory. I mean, it's weird because Joe Bob will do stuff on his show where he talks about politics and other things, and you never really do get a strong feel about where he stands on shit. It's very interesting that he's able to be so opinionated, but yet you don't really know exactly where he's at.
He rides a fine line. I would say that about him. He definitely rides a fine line with his like he pulled stuff pretty close to the vest, except with like honestly talking about these movies. I mean, I think he gives you a strong indication one way or the other if he really how he really feels about them. But I think generally he's a fan of most of the films he reviews.
Now, this is another one I saw on his show, but this is a kind of unusual feature for him because usually he'll show B-movie schlock. This is like a pretty legit movie. This is actually a Jodie Foster movie before she broke big in Taxi Driver. So this is just prior to her getting her big break. And this movie is, I guess, ostensibly a horror movie, but honestly, it's sort of genre defying. There's a movie called The Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane, and it's about this girl who just mysteriously lives all by herself in this big house. No one knows where her father is, where her mother is. And people keep disappearing around her, and it's kind of like a question of like, what's really going on here? And you get your answers over the time. And then of course there is Martin Sheen in a role before he was a big actor, but also just on the cusp of his big break. I don't really know what movie gave Martin Sheen his big break. But,
wasn't it Apocalypse Now? Wasn't it? Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe
if I'm wrong about that, like I know that was a huge role for him.
But Martin Sheen plays this like pedophile in the neighborhood that is like obviously here's like, wait a minute, 13-year-old girl living all alone in this house, and he's like,
let's see.
So he's like this like very menacing, sociopathic pedophile that's trying to get in her pants. And there's all these like weird little subplots about her making a boyfriend of this teenager who's like a magician because he's comes from a family of athletes, but he's got like a disability, so he learned magic to compensate for it. Definitely a twisted ass fucking movie, but really quite good. Jodie Foster is of course like renowned as an amazing actress, and she's no different here than it's not like, oh man, she's no good in this. This is before she learned how to act. She's pretty much great in this. Martin Sheen obviously is great. So like terrific cast for this fucking old movie that I don't think too many people really even remember these days.
Yeah, this is an obscure movie. Like I think I've heard of this movie, but I don't think I've ever seen it. Because I mean, like it sounds familiar, but it's just not one of the things I've ever actually went and checked out.
This is definitely not like just a casual like let's watch a fucking crazy movie. This is more like involved and shit. But if you're looking for a movie that's like sort of a dark, twisted drama with a lot of like mysteries entangled into it, and you're looking for a fucking ending that basically turns the blood in your veins into ice, this is the fucking movie for you. Because I mean I don't want to be too spoiler, but let's just say it ends with a 3-minute death stare.
Okay. So what do you rate this one, TJ?
I'd have to say probably like 7.5 out of 10.
Damn.
Pretty good drama. I don't even usually, by the way, I'm not a big fan of dramas. I don't really like a lot of drama movies, and I would say
No,
this is more of a
you're
drama than a
definitely
horror. It's a dark drama that verges on horror, but I think it's more of a drama than it is a horror movie. Rated PG. That is insane because it's honestly more disturbing than a lot of R-rated
Well,
shit.
you have to remember at that time period there was
This
no
is a 1970s PG.
yeah,
though.
PG-13 did not exist at that time. I think that came out in the 80s or 90s or something. I think it was the 80s.
I mean, this literally, this movie involves so many things. It would not be, if this movie came out today, it would not be fucking PG. Okay, I'll just put that out to you.
PG-13, you think?
R, for sure.
Really?
Oh yeah, they would not rate this PG-13 anymore. It's brutal.
When did so PG-13 came out July 1st, 1984.
It's psychologically brutal. It doesn't really show any brutality other than it shows a hamster being murdered.
Like thematically, it's a very dark movie.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of blood and gore, but it's just like it's dark and disturbing and twisted, and the fact that all this stuff is happening to such a young girl is pretty crazy, and the fact that she's doing all of these fucking amoral things is pretty crazy.
Oh, do you know there was a fucking movie actually also with Macaulay Culkin that was, I guess, maybe a little bit similar to this, was like The Good Son.
Yeah, The Good Son, dude.
He was like the evil fucking kid or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably not as good as this movie. And I don't remember
that. The Good Son is way more cartoonish than this movie is. This movie is very brutally realistic, except for one. Okay, I have to tell you this. So the majority of this movie is pretty much like a straight up sort of like drama movie that takes itself very seriously and sucks in the audience to take it very seriously. But then a little past the midway point in the movie, out of fucking goddamn nowhere, there's a scene where her boyfriend puts on this like ridiculous like old man makeup to like pretend to be her father.
No, pre-recorded.
To trick the sheriff or whatever the fuck. And he's like so cartoonish. He looks like the master of disguise or something. He's like, I'm a father. And the sheriff's like, oh, good to meet you, sir. It's like, that's obviously a dude wearing makeup.
Like the three kids in a coat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was insane. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is this?
That was batshit. It's like, what are you doing, movie? You were taking yourself so seriously, and now you're going to give me this comedic fucking pap? I don't get that, but whatever.
You know, sometimes even the most serious movies, they do that.
I think that takes us through everything. So yeah, I mean, I don't know.
That's all, folks.
Pretty neat little assortment of media there. Hope you guys might have found some interesting, maybe some recommendations or whatever.
I know we have some other stuff we're gonna do. I'm actually finishing up Better Call Saul. So, Teacher Podcast is doing an episode just on that.
And I've already watched Better Call Saul, so Scotty's watching that. So we'll probably talk about that on the next one of these. And I'm sure we're gonna talk about.
Have you seen Glass Onion yet?
Yep, I did. God damn, I knew I was forgetting something important.
I haven't seen it yet. So
all right, well, you watch that. We'll cover that one next week.
Yeah, so we'll be back next week with some more stuff.
Release Peyton. What's the odds that Peyton's bitching at me in my DMs?
Why should I? Why should I release Peyton?
Let's see what's going on.
Why should I free Peyton?
Oh yeah, he did. Let's see.
Put it on the screen.
I'm not putting it on the screen, but I'll read it to you.
All right, read it to me.
That shit Scotty said was uncalled for and it hurt my feelings. Oh well. Like I typed that while I was doing the dishes. I didn't even think anything of the comment. It's so dumb, bro.
Peyton, you do dumb shit all the time. I don't feel bad for banning you, and I don't want to rescind it. Fuck off.
There you go.
I'll tell you, and if I ever see you in person, I'll tell you to your face the same bullshit, dude.
Scotty's mean to Peyton.
I honestly, I really don't have a problem with Peyton, but it's like every time he you say something, like he comes up with like the one thing where it's like, dude, I'm not talking about every fucking goddamn example ever. I'm saying
you're just mad at Peyton because he showed off that he knows more than you, Scotty. You just jealous of Peyton's massive intellect, huh?
Well, Peyton knows more about Disney shit than me. I'll give him that. I mean, knowing anything relevant about life, no, Peyton doesn't know shit. Common sense, he lacks.
Scotty,
that.
You fucking came on
but,
here. You bold-faced, looked at the camera, and you were like, you know what? There's no movie that they spend money on anymore. It's not a superhero movie. And Peyton was like, actually, sir, Top Gun Maverick bullshit.
Oh, my God.
I have corrected you, good sir.
Well, he can correct me on somewhere else because he can't do it here. Damn.
Brutal. Scotty, brutal.
All right. Well, come at me, Peyton, you bitch.
that's what we got for this week. We want to do one of these every week or so. So we're gonna join. We'll see you guys for another one of these down the way.
Unless you're
And if
Peyton.
Damn. If you end up actually seeing any of these things based on our recommendations, especially some of the more obscure stuff, let me know, because I'm very interested to see if you guys agree with the assessments that have been laid out here.
Of
But,
course they agree with us. We're brilliant. We're brilliant, big brain people. They, of course, agree with everything we said. And if they disagree, they're wrong.
if you disagree with us, you're fucking dumb. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Peace out.